Hey, Patriots fans, if you want to see Toyota's best offers, including those not seen on TV, go to buyatoyota.com. It's Toyota's official website for deals from the official vehicle of the New England Patriots. Toyota, let's go places, but keep it local for now.
Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is, Tuesday here in Gillette Stadium. We are back from Frankfurt, Germany. Overall, I think it was a successful trip, except for the game. But otherwise, I think the Patriots made their mark on Frankfurt.
I thought it was tremendous.
Yeah.
The trip itself.
Yeah.
I was a little curious, Matt. What was that Patriots Unfiltered?
Oh.
Isn't there another?
Oh, yeah,
The
play that one.
Patriots Unfiltered?
Yeah.
Play that one.
That's the name of the show, I thought.
We need that one.
But
on
yeah, I agree
permanent
with
rotation.
you, Freddie. I thought it was. I thought there was some good times.
Patrioten Ungefiltert.
No,
I don't think that's what Matt. I don't think that's
I
what
liked
Morel
it better
says.
when it was Matt.
It's Deuce, it's Evan, it's Paul, it's me, it's Matt in the booth, and yes, we have returned. The thing that I hate the most about the trip was we let the fans down. Like, the fans were out in force.
Well, we didn't. Just
the organization. Like, we wanted to come away with a win. So
I'm with Evan.
I know it's not like we're not going anywhere this year. We're not going to the playoffs, but at least those fans from Germany and around would have said, yeah, I came to the game and I saw my team win. And we couldn't pull off the win, and that's my biggest regret of the whole week. Otherwise, I think it was a successful trip, but just not being able to pull that win off for those fans that were there. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw it. You see the fan march on Sunday morning?
Yeah, that was awesome.
With the marching band and like 1,000 people.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great.
Getting on a train.
Yeah, I mean, that was awesome. And so I want to thank all the fans of Germany and the surrounding area. And sorry we couldn't get you the win.
That was
It's not our fault, Fred. It's
no,
okay.
it wasn't our fault. But I totally agree. My favorite part was that Friday night at Gibson's with all the Patriots Unfiltered fans that came up to us and waited in line to tell us how much they enjoyed the show. And
There was a line.
there was a
dude?
line
That
of
was
people,
so,
and
that was so cool.
You know,
I have to admit that was really cool.
people are like, do you mind if I take a selfie? I'm like, of course. This is the highlight of my trip. So that for me made it all meeting all you guys out there. So thank you for everyone that came out. And yeah, it was disappointing. Couldn't get a win. Couldn't get a touchdown even. That was.
I think more people recognize me in Germany than here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like David Hasselhoff, right?
Yeah.
Not me, but I could see that for you guys.
You're bigger in the UK, Paul. That's your
it was a lot of fun, and that the post show portion at Gibson's was pretty cool.
Yeah.
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 You
People
said
all
it,
over the
Paul.
place.
We were like the Beatles.
Yeah.
For,
Yeah.
for like a
I
minute
tried.
over
I
there.
tried to tell Mike and Evan that it was going to be, and that exceeded even my expectations. But like I try to tell them that people are going to come up to you randomly and just want to talk, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened.
I was walking out of the stadium to get to the buses after the game, and people were still stopping me.
Yeah.
Like as I was walking across the
Evan
field.
Lazar, over
And
here.
they usually-
I love you so much, man.
Yeah.
Oh, we listen to you all the time.
Yeah, they're like, "Can you sign this?" I was like, "You want me to sign it? Like, why do you want me to sign it?"
I don't want to devalue it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. And I lost. About Gibson in that show, we had a lot of people say, "What happened to the show? It didn't upload." And that was the plan going in. We knew there was going to be music playing in the background, and because of licensing issues, if it's not from our licensed library, we can't put it on demand. So we knew going in that we weren't going to post that show on demand. But as it turns out, you probably couldn't discern the music anyway.
That's
the bass
not,
was like.
That's not what everybody upstairs told me today. They said that show sounded and looked
great.
awesome, and it's too bad people missed it because it was a fast and loose show.
It was a banger.
We had some silly commentary that's now lost forever. So sorry, guys. I
Yeah.
can't really tell what we were
And
talking.
just so you know, Mike was the king of the fast and loose commentary.
I mean, you have to.
True.
You have to listen live.
Yeah.
I
I tried to warn people when I put the tweet out, like, listen now or lose it forever.
Yeah.
Is that a Top Gun? Take me to bed, lose me. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Hey Goose, you big stud.
but a
Show
great
me the way
a great
home.
experience for all of us. The game itself, the fans singing. They no matter what was going on, they were going to have a good time.
Yeah.
It didn't really. I know it mattered to the Patriots fans what happened on the field, but they were there and they were going to have a good time regardless, and they really did.
Yeah, even the media, like the international media that came in and asked questions, like the press conference was pretty fun. Like it was loose. It was, Bill was good mood. The players were all in good moods. Some fun questions, from around the world and people getting a chance to, ask the coaches and the players some questions for the first time. So
Evan lost his job.
Yeah,
Right.
Evan was a jilted lover.
Well,
Yeah,
the
Mac
quarterback might have lost his job too. So.
Mac called out a guy from the UK as an offensive coach, and right in front of him was the true offensive coach, Evan. And
Oh, you should have
Yeah.
done a throw your hands up and discuss.
Yeah.
That would have been
just got up and walked out.
I thought about it, but I
Walked
I
out.
stayed professional.
You just said,
and-
Mac, how could you? And you just storm out.
After all we've been through.
It's funnier if he's like weaving his way through all those chairs and like making a whole dramatic exit that takes way
Right.
too long. And everyone's like, what's he doing?
I'm trying to storm out.
Excuse me. I'm very upset. Excuse me.
Anyway, but we have to talk about the game.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yep.
And to me, it was weird because last night the Bills lost to the Broncos, and this morning they announced they fired their offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
What the hell are we doing? I mean, like, not to say anything about Bill O'Brien, but like, we're worse than that.
Yep.
And the Bills are like, we can't stomach this anymore, and they made a change right away. Something's got to give. I mean, two field goals, and we're not playing the 85 Bears here.
Yeah, and I mean, it kind of started out like positive. Like that first drive, it was like they're kind of stringing some stuff together. It was one of their better drives, but yeah, it didn't really matter. And yeah, I can't believe that they lost to that team. He had so many chances to do it, and usually that's a Patriots game that they win almost every time, even in these dark days. Like
Win on the margins.
yeah,
And they got
That's a
down to the
backup
9
quarterback.
at the end of the game, or with 9 or 13, whatever it was. But I'm thinking, okay, they're going to punch this in. They're going to do
Yep.
it.
I
And
saw
then
it.
that throw, and it's an outdoor press box in Frankfurt, and I just yelled out, "Oh, Mac!" Like I couldn't help myself.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Were you the only one that heard it, or did everybody look
I
at
think
you?
everybody did.
I think everyone in our row did. Yeah. I mean,
Jesus, Fred.
I mean, it was
You never do that.
open air press boxes.
Yeah.
Fred is
It's
a little bit more loose?
It's
Yeah.
a little bit different.
Oh yeah, it's a little different because
It-
you
I
you
don't
you blend in with everybody else.
Yeah.
it just felt like
That's why I
pick-
love him, because it's of him.
It just felt like that pick was the culmination of so many things, like season long, kind of Mac's career long. We've seen him going down this path of throwing off his back foot. He hasn't looked comfortable in the pocket, and the offensive line has given him good reason not to. But I think the thing that just stood out with me with Mac is just like he has no escapability. He has no ability to extend plays. It's if pressure is there, he's turtling on it, and and it's slowly devolved to the point where that was probably his worst interception of the year.
And it was a perfect comparison because they're going up against Gardner Minshew, he's not that good a quarterback.
Oh.
Yet he was doing what we need Mac to do, which was extending plays, throwing on the run, finding guys.
I think those two guys had a competition to see who could be worse in that game, to be honest with you.
But if Mac had made as many plays on the run, extending plays when flushed out of the pocket that Minshew did, we would have won that game.
In all seriousness, I just for a split second, I think they both had the same problem. They both continued to try to move around and make plays off platform that didn't need to be happening.
I
think
that could be true, but he was hitting Pittman or
But
whoever.
he missed way more than he made. Is the point? And if he just sat there, and I'm talking about Minshew now, just sat there and threw the ball, I think there were plays to be made. I think he had open guys.
Well, that's fine,
And then
but
he also was victimized by some drops by his guys.
Yeah,
But-
and I'd rather miss the play than get sacked.
Yeah, I thought Mac, and I'd be curious to see. I know we're a couple days removed now, so Evans, all through his film study. Listen, the pass protection wasn't great. I'm not trying to tell you that this offensive line is a great offensive line. I just didn't think there was that much immediate pressure that he constantly. And I think even down to the last interception, which was horrific, it was such a combination of bad everything. Like, I think he felt pressure that wasn't there. He, as Evan has been talking about for months now, fading away, throwing off his back foot while falling back, badly underthrowing a ball because he doesn't have the skill set to get it where it wants to go. And I just think across the board, bad throw, bad choice, bad decision, bad everything. I mean, he threw it to the right guy. He was wide open, but
Who, Gesicki?
yeah, he was wide open.
But he needed to get it
They just
further.
needed to throw it,
He needed to
to
throw it up
in
the
properly.
air.
I didn't think, like the 5 sacks in the first half, I didn't think it was a train wreck. Now, that certainly indicates it's a train wreck, and I'm not telling you that they were great. there was some pressure, and I just thought a good quarterback would have dealt with that pressure a lot better than he did.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you it was all on Mac, the sacks.
I will say
they might have all been the fault of the protection.
No.
But I just thought a good quarterback handles that
I will
better.
give Mac credit for one thing. I thought in his press conference he had the most human, honest answer I've ever heard him give. And when they asked him, "Do you think Belichick still has faith in you?" and he says, "I need to play better, and the way I played, I don't know." That was as honest as you could be and as human as you could be in an answer.
Kind of defeated.
Yeah.
I'll just say my piece real quick before Evan jumps in. But, I felt like, some of the pressures, I went through and watched all those sacks. It's just, I think there is pressure there. Mm-hmm. But, like I said, he just has no ability to avoid the rush. So if there is pressure, he's going down. There's no ability to get away, to make a subtle sidestep and get around a guy and then deliver it. It's just if there's pressure, he's done, period.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Evan.
It's over.
Yeah.
Time of death, fourth quarter, 4 minutes and 16 seconds.
You're calling it?
I'm out. I'm all the way out. Like
you mean now you're out? Like 4 weeks ago?
No, I gave him as long of a leash as maybe anybody. Right? Like I kept on trying to give him a chance and trying to give him a chance. I said this to you, Deuce, upstairs. This is one of those games against a backup quarterback in Gardner Minshew who stinks. Like, he's awful.
Yep.
That if you're the guy, if you're a franchise quarterback, I don't care if you're under duress. I don't care if you have nobody to throw to. You find a way to score 11 points to win the freaking game, right? Like, you have to be able to find a way to win a game like that. And for all the reasons that you guys said, in terms of the actual game itself, I think you guys summed it up well. And the back foot stuff, just a deer in the headlights in the pocket, just has absolutely no mobility, no ability, even subtle mobility. Like, it doesn't even have to be these, big, like Josh Allen type of like run around plays. It's just sides. Take a step to your left or right and let the guy drive by you, right? Like, just, kind of make some subtle movements and things like that. It just, none of it, he is a absolute deer in the headlights in the pocket.
I'm glad to hear you say that, because that's how Mike and I sort of talked about it in the post game. And sometimes everybody goes back and they look like, oh, he had no chance. He had no chance. I didn't see it that way.
Yeah.
I didn't think the protection was good. I'm not telling you it was good. But I just thought there were opportunities to, like, okay, you're going to get hit when you throw this one. Stand in. You see that guy's coming. Make the throw.
Yeah.
And people are like, because even now I still see these, like, these still shots on Twitter, which the stills really drive me crazy.
Oh, yeah.
No one's even looking back for a pass.
Okay,
Right.
I got an issue
You
with
have
that.
to throw the ball in anticipation.
I hate that so much. No one's even looking for the ball. I'm like, what are you doing? You realize that this is the NFL. It's not everybody go out in a route, turn around.
Right.
No to you. Oh, hey, you're still open. Like, you throw the ball when he's still running the route. Like, but, we could go through them. Buckner on one, I think, Evan, you wrote about with just, taking Cole Strange and just like, hello, little guard, you trying to block me? Goodbye. And then you had So get beat really cleanly right across his face. Ramondre just completely whiffed on trying to pick up a blitzer. So, it wasn't, I read Greg, too, and Greg was just like, it was the pressure. He kind of was right, and I'm like,
I can no longer read Greg. I apologize.
No, I know.
Greg. Yeah, I'm out. They changed the way they do clips. I can't read them anymore.
It was in the first paragraph.
So the fact that Greg sticks to that, mantra means that Mac's one of his sources.
Really? Well,
it has to be.
He's an offensive line guy too, and he loves the offensive line. And I don't think he's necessarily wrong because the pressure was there, but I just think that there were opportunities for a savvy quarterback to, like Evan said, take a step up, take a step to the left, to allow the how, like, God, I hate doing the Brady comparisons, but a good quarterback, they know how to step up. They know where the pressures. They have an innate sense of it. He has no innate sense of it.
Yeah,
and
Brady didn't run around, but it was like you said, the subtle movements, left, right, forward.
Boom.
He got like 20 years into his career before he started really watching the rush. Because even Brady at the end started sort of saying, making some business choices.
Well, I think he did it out of frustration.
Yeah.
Some of it was performative. Throwing the ball on the ground and all that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. No, I just think at some point you get tired of taking hits.
Well, that's what I mean. But he was just upset and he,
performative.
I'm
no longer trying to win. I'm just going to throw the ball into the ground.
There's absolutely no question that the pressure in this game was up there with Dallas and New Orleans. Like, it was that bad.
Yeah.
He was under siege, and You brought up Cole Strange. I had him for 6 pressures in this game. Just absolutely horrible. And him and So run blocked pretty well.
Yeah.
I'll give him that.
They ran the ball well.
Those 2 guys and Onwenu really were game changers in the run game in the second half. But this is a passing league. So if you look at a guy like So's been okay in pass protection until this point. This is probably, other than the Eagle game, which was his first game ever, this is probably his worst game in pass pro. But with Strange, if you can't pass protect in the NFL in 2023, then I can't have you're no good to me. Like I don't care how good of a run blocker you are. If you can't keep a guy from harassing your quarterback for 4 straight quarters, then it's no good. But there were 3 plays in this game, and I broke them down. And after further review, one of them was the one that O'Brien chewed him out on the sideline, where he's got 3 open receivers. Like you have to make a throw. I don't care which throw you decide to make, but the ball's got to come out, and it certainly can't come out in this like underhand shot put thing that he did over to Ramondre Stevenson. That probably should have been a pick 6, but Ramondre luckily got a hand on it to knock the ball down before the corner got to it. The pass to Hunter Henry in the back of the end zone, just a duck. Like an absolute quail. And then the interception. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Put that in my head. Just wrong club. Like, first of all, drive the ball in there, right? What are you floating it up there for? Drive the ball in there. Totally inaccurate. Threw it so early that by the time Hunter Henry gets his head around to look for the ball, it's already over his head. And so he's like looking around like, well, where the heck is the ball? Like he knew it was coming to him, but he didn't know where the football was. And then the interception is the worst throw I've ever seen a quarterback make, I think. Yeah. It's up there. I mean,
it's almost like it was up there he was for afraid to throw it. I don't understand how it doesn't reach the receiver, not even close. No. Unless he thought that Colt was a Patriot. Like it didn't even have a shot.
Just like he thought Magic was going to get it there somehow, because he just was like, meh.
You had to fire it because you had to get over a layer. There were defenders in front, but you've got the tallest guy in that area. There's a place to put that ball where Gesicki can catch it, and only he can. And I don't know what he was thinking.
I honestly say this, and I don't mean to be rude. I think Paul can make that throw. That throw is as wide open. I don't care what level of football you're playing. Yeah, that is as wide open as a receiver gets.
I agree.
Could I make it?
Yeah, you could probably make it.
Because that's the kind of throw that you don't need. Like the arm strength isn't.
You just lob it over the guy and
you softly put it over the top and just allow it's an easy throw and catch. I wanted to go back to the play that he got wrapped up on and try to underhand shovel it to Stevenson, because I'm glad Evan brought up the fact that there were 3 people open on that play, because a lot of people said, if he had just thrown it to Stevenson right away, he's wide open out there. Yeah, he was. He's out in the flat, and he's got an easy first down. But that's not where his head took him. Yeah. Whatever the progression was, it wasn't to start there. That's a check down. But he had other options and somehow still allowed and that was one of the plays. Yeah, there was pressure. Guys flashed. But to the point where you couldn't find any receiver that looked like it looked like he had options on that play.
He had multiple. He had Hunter Henry
held
over the middle. I think he probably could have made the throw. He was waiting for the linebacker to declare. He's holding the ball. Pop Douglas is running a little shallow cross, and that linebacker's either going to stay back and he's just going to dump it to Pop Douglas for the first down, or if that linebacker comes up and jumps Pop Douglas, and he can throw the pass to Hunter Henry between the 2 safeties. So he's holding the ball, waiting for that to develop, which I understand his process from that standpoint, but he just froze. He just froze on the read, and Juju Smith-Schuster's open for a touchdown, all by himself on the right sideline, and then Ramondre's open in the flat just for the little check down. Bill O'Brien, we haven't gotten to talk to him yet this week. Sometimes during the bye week we don't.
Oh, you may not want to talk. So, you see him on the sideline?
I loved that. And not because of Mac. I just think that's Billy O. Yeah. Right. That's how he coaches.
Let him have it.
Yeah.
Where's that been?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like to guess to what he was reacting to. But
I guess it's what you're talking about.
I looked
right
at that
here.
play of
look, it's right here.
Let's assume that's what he was yelling about. Totally warranted. I mean, it's just it's there. Like it's there in multiple places. Like you just have to make a throw in that situation. You can't just stand
And I
there.
just thought like the visual, Fred. And I don't know if did you actually catch the visual on?
No,
on
we
air?
were actually.
Right.
This is the rare time where we were sitting behind the Patriots bench, so we didn't have a good look of what's going. Usually we're
And you didn't see
facing
the
it.
monitor. Okay, so
Yeah.
Billy O and Mac are on the bench, and Billy O's got the surface. You know, he's like showing them, and it's really demonstrative. Anybody with a set of eyes knew what was going
Was
on.
Matt paying attention?
Bill, oh yeah,
Okay.
Bill is right in front.
Oh, I
of
did see
Billy
that.
O.
I saw that, and
And it's just
on
kind
the
of like
replay.
looking through
Like-
the Polaroids.
yeah, like nothing's happening.
you know,
Yeah.
nothing to see here, but you know we can hear it,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Get 'em,
you know,
Bill.
not surprisingly, you know, two series later, they made the move. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about the timing of the move. I'm with Evan 1,000%. The move had to be made. I just think that they waited too long. Like once you get a minute 52 on your own 14-yard line with no timeouts, yeah, hey kid, go and win me again.
Yeah.
Well, I hear that.
It's too late then.
But people on our row were saying, they got to put in Zappy, and I was thinking, like, it's not going to get any better with Zappy.
I mean,
know?
that's probably what we're going to be talking about for the rest of the season
Well,
too.
I got to be honest with you. He made two throws that I didn't see from Mac all day.
Well, and then he made another
Yeah,
one.
listen, you got to try to try. You're running a play. It was dumb play by Zappy
Yeah.
to try to it wasn't there. It didn't work. You try to fake spike. Yeah, and what did I say? What did he do? Throw into a defensive team meeting.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
Throw it away and live to fight
Well,
another
you
down.
know,
You have to after that interception, you got to bench him. Like I tweeted it at the time. I was like, that is a benchable turnover. Like
Yeah.
you just can't. You can't. The
Were
rest
you
of the
surprised
team.
though?
I'm
I
not,
was. I
I'm
have to
not
admit, I
because
was.
that to me, that interception and the body language that Mac had on the field and then walking off the field, to me that was curtains on his Patriots career. Like it's over. Like I don't think he plays another snap for
Well,
the
I
Patriots.
think
It certainly will be if Belichick stays. Like I don't think he'll ever be Belichick's.
Yeah.
I'll do an Andyism. He might start another game this year. He might be the Patriots starting quarterback in a game. He will never again be the Patriots starter if
Right.
Belichick is the coach.
No, I hear you. And
Or hopefully, if anyone's the
and
coach.
the obituary on Mac will be written, at some point.
Today was the
after
day
the
that he
season.
no longer was
Oh,
the coach.
it's already
But-
weird.
But
quarterback.
from the first season, in my opinion, they mishandled him right from the get-go. And I said it in year one. I said they're managing him too much. They're not letting him make mistakes.
Yeah, maybe they knew.
You got to let this guy make his mistakes, and understand his limits and how to do things. And I think they managed him too much that first season, and he got a false sense of security. A false sense of security, and
Bold
then
take.
And then in year two, we all know the disaster of that was. But I think they mismanaged him from year one. I go back. He's not Peyton Manning, but I go back to Peyton Manning. His first year, he had way more interceptions than he had touchdowns. He looked terrible, but people knew he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Just let him. And he learned that first season how to be an NFL quarterback. Mac didn't learn in his first season how to be an NFL quarterback. He was managed too closely.
Well, do you think though that he would have had the same success if he wasn't managed like that in 2021? Like would it have looked a little bit worse?
I think all that other stuff is valid.
Yeah.
The lack of help, the lack of offensive line, the Matt Patricia, all that's
I
valid.
think Mike is saying, do you think he would have been any good if they didn't? I think.
But at least
I
we
think
know.
they coaxed something out of him
look how
by
many,
doing that.
But look how many people, fans included, were duped after that first season. How many times do we get the email or the call? Well, he made the playoffs.
I know, but
he was the best quarterback.
Well, we know how to
Some of
break
us
that
more than
down.
others.
I know we know how to break that down. The feeling I have is that I know they didn't do him a lot of favors and they made it hard on him, but I think we're always going to end up at the same place that we're at right now. That he is not
Maybe,
the
but
guy,
I
and
think-
he's not. He
I
doesn't
think-
have the toughness and the
Yeah.
the ability under pressure to do those things.
But
It's
I'm not
just,
saying you're wrong.
know.
No, but I think
It's just an interesting take. It's a little different.
I just
that's all.
think from that first season, he was mishandled.
Yeah,
People
that's an
people look
interesting
at the
take.
second season, but I'm looking at the first, and I said it during the season. So this is in hindsight.
Like how
they
so,
weren't
though?
even allowing him to throw into the end zone. Either that, or he wasn't doing it on his own, and that should have been a red flag right there.
But based on what we've seen since, maybe they shouldn't have been allowing him to throw the ball into the end zone.
well,
I think that's Mike's point.
I know, but play calling and everything, I think he was highly managed to not make mistakes, in his first year.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
I mean,
for the most part.
Yeah, well, we can talk about down the end of that season. I mean, I see what you're saying. I just wonder if we would even have gotten past the first season if they hadn't had tight reins on him, and it would have been like, oh my God, Mac Jones, if he had 10 touchdowns and 16 interceptions, and where would we be? Because I think you get to that offseason, people would be looking for another quarterback.
I think he ended that first season thinking he knew what it was like to be an NFL quarterback, and he didn't. To be the guy, you have to take chances. You have to put the team on your shoulders and get that 11th point.
Yeah.
However you do it, because the ball's in your hand on every play. Whether it's calling out the plays at the line and changing them because what you see, you've got to figure out how to score 11 points in that game. It's not like they were playing a great defense.
Well, and my point is like, I would have had his back today if he had to win a shootout on Sunday under those conditions.
Sure.
If he had to score 27 points to beat the Colts on Sunday with that protection and the receiver, he's got Juju Smith-Schuster is clearly just washed, and he's got 2 rookie 6th-round picks playing wide receiver for him. And if that was the case with all that conditions, I would have said, I mean, what do you expect him to? He's not going to score a lot of points with this type of environment, but he needed 11 points. Like, they needed 1 touchdown drive for him, and he had 4 trips into the red zone.
Right.
And they went 0 for 4.
0 for 4 in the red zone. That's tough.
Yeah. So it is what it is. We're at the bye now. The Patriots are 2-8. 9-8 is still in the conversation, right?
I forgot.
I kid.
I was going to text you that, but I knew they're coming back from
Touchy.
Germany. It's
Oh,
not
I
the
know.
time.
No, when we were already here and we were just living our best lives, not having.
Well, it's funny because a lot of people are tweeting last night after the Bills lost that the AFC is really, it's like the Titans and the Patriots are the only 2 teams that aren't really in it in the AFC.
Yeah,
Everybody else is in it.
I saw someone tweet it's turned into a bloodbath, and it's true. I forget who tweeted that, but that's true. Like, the conference is really, really deep. And it's funny because when we had the whole DeAndre Hopkins, debate, there was a lot of talk like, well, he went to Tennessee? What do you go to Tennessee for? Like, and I was like, I don't know. I think they're kind of the same as us. Well, they are.
Yeah.
They're the only 2 teams, as Evan said, that are really out of it.
And right now, because the Broncos lost, is it true the Patriots have the 3rd pick?
Yeah, so that was kind of where I was getting
they
at.
were at the 3rd pick going into that game.
Yeah.
I thought 4.
No, they're at 3. And as much as you can look at it and say, wow, if they just were able to win a couple of these games that they should have won, they'd be in it.
Saw that on Twitter, too.
I'm kind of glad they're not. Because, like, to what extent? Like, at this point, the only thing that matters is Drake May or Caleb Williams. That's it. Like, it's the only thing that matters. When they play the Giants after Thanksgiving, they should lose. Because that's going to be a really important game when it comes to seeding. Like, if you, in terms of the tank, like, if you beat the Chiefs and have a really good feel good game at the end of the year, I'm not going to lose much sleep over it because that's a fun win. That's a cool win. It's
like the Buffalo game.
Right, like the Buffalo game. But these games against the Giants and stuff like that, like, start Malik Cunningham. I don't care. Tank, baby, tank.
So what's going to happen if last game it's the Jets and it's Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
Lose.
And maybe they need to
Please.
get into the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah, I just think that the Jets, I don't think we're going to see Aaron Rodgers play because I don't think they're going to be in it. And that's going to take that. I've been thinking about that.
God,
That's going to
they
take
might
that
win.
Because I think, what's funny is Zach Wilson's I don't know if you guys have watched any of the games. Like, they played on Sunday night. The previous week they played on Monday night. The Sunday night game, I don't think he played terrible. He threw a terrible pick that cost him the game. So that's
Other than that, how was the play?
no, but like,
I get
yes, you're right. You're
I
right.
get what you're saying.
But unlike Mac, who I think played terrible for 4 quarters,
Yeah.
and I
then
know
topped
that
it off
other
with-
people think that he didn't.
God.
I think he made 0 plays in the game, and then he topped it off with what should have been back-to-back picks in the red zone.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think Zach Wilson, he threw for like 250 yards. They were kind of moving the ball. They were similarly 0 for life in the red zone. They were getting touchdowns called back, 2 of them called back, and I just think they weren't that far away. But I think now that these are the games they were supposed they had to win. Like they had to beat
Those
the
are running out quick. I mean, you
like
got
they
one
had to
more
beat
maybe.
I meant the Jets. They had to
Oh,
beat
the
the
Jets.
Raiders. I think they're gonna be playing Miami. I think Buffalo at some point is going to have to rebound. I think Buffalo's going to miss the playoffs.
What is Buffalo's problem? Is it really the offensive coordinator?
They turned the ball over 5 times.
Yeah.
Their
just a joke.
Their
I
offense is really, really vanilla. Yeah. It's like almost like the Patriots' offense last year, but like they just have Josh Allen playing quarterback. Yeah. So every once in a while, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs just are Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. But if that's not there, then it's turnovers, it's inefficient offense, it's all
Dable
those
back
things.
next year
For the Giants?
for the
Bills.
Oh, for the Bills. Yeah.
I would I'd take him back as the head coach.
All right.
But they had in addition, they had 4 turnovers plus they turned it over on downs in their own territory. So that's 5 turnovers, and they were winning. Yeah. And if they didn't have 12 guys on the field on the last play of the game, they would have won that game.
That was so funny. I'm sorry. Like, I know we're not like glass houses right now, but
no,
like that was absolute.
And I was so happy. Like, I know we're not supposed to like root, blah blah blah, whatever. I was so happy because Buffalo so badly did not deserve to win that game. And just because of what Evan said, at some point, like Josh Allen just made 4 or 5 plays. James Cook, despite fumbling 3 times, made
Did you
4
see the
or
one
5
where
great runs.
he fumbled and then
On
it
the
bounced
run?
on the ground and he picked
Did
it
you
up
see
and
that?
kept running?
He had like a 40-yard run.
Yeah,
right?
Picked it up.
He got like 20 yards. The guy strips him. It took a bounce,
right up.
hit him in stride, and I think he accelerated
Yeah.
after he recovered.
It was like
his
he
own fumble.
dribbled.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like
it. It was an amazing game to watch. Not particularly well played. Do you guys think, in terms of well played, there's something about the European games? Like
they're a little less played.
They don't ever seem to be crisp.
I don't think I could play a crisp anything after like feeling what it was like to get over there and just to get reestablished with sleeping and food.
Well, don't you think like
it's hard?
The game itself wasn't crisp, but when the Patriots played in London, I think they were crisp. I think
I thought it was terrible football.
They destroyed the Rams.
I don't really remember.
The Rams were terrible.
Yeah, maybe just.
But I mean,
but I don't even think that like the first touchdown of that game, just as a point of comparison, was a bomb by the Rams for a touchdown. That kind of stuff never happened to the Patriots.
Yeah.
Not then. Let me reiterate. That was like 2012.
I don't know.
That stuff didn't always happen to the Patriots.
Yeah. No, they always seem a little out of sorts.
I mean, I was a little out of sorts.
Like
the
the Chiefs and Dolphins are 2 really good teams, and I don't think they played great football.
No.
It was a close game.
21-14.
But I don't think it was a really well played game if you watched it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to market the product to these people.
And they're just so happy. It doesn't matter to them.
And that was, I wrote something on Saturday night before the game, like, if they win this game, that was kind of my biggest takeaway of being there was sometimes it's okay to just be a fan. And, like, here I feel like we're in it, like, we're really in it, but B, like, the doom and gloom has just sunk into this region so much because of the state of the team. Those people were just happy to be there. And there's something to be said for that it's sports. It's not this big, life or death type of thing. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's okay to just be excited to watch your team play, and then the game happens.
Somebody was saying, though, we look at it as, 10-6. But for soccer fans, that's 2 scores for each team, which is like a lot of scoring in a game.
I was also looking at it as, 9 punts. Woohoo! They like when the ball gets kicked.
Yeah, there you go. Give them what they want.
Missed field goal by the rookie.
Yeah,
for the Patriots.
Up close too. Well, actually, if they had the things extended.
Don't get me started.
Don't.
Why, you thought that was a field goal?
No. Well, some did.
Really?
They did.
One did.
One particular coach did on the sideline. And I just like quickly on the special teams? Why are either of those 2 guys still here?
Okay.
Like, this is unbelievably ridiculous. They spend so much time. They spent so much time that they got penalized for how much time they spend on special teams. Literally. They literally got OTAs stripped.
Going back to the OTAs when they had
because they spend too much time on special teams. They have 3 dedicated special teams coaches, 2 who are coordinators or former coordinators on special teams. They drafted 2 specialists in the same draft. Nobody's done that in like 30 years. And on top of that, they
hired a free agent.
They have does Chris Board play? No. I haven't heard Chris Board's name a single time other than
the only time I remember his name was when he got called for that penalty.
He got called for a penalty. They have 5 players, I counted, 5 players, if you include Ty Montgomery, who I do because he played one offensive snap.
I would include him as a special teams only
that
player.
are special teams only players, and they have the worst special teams in the NFL. Like, if that doesn't tell you something about where this team is at right now, I don't know. The special teams were abhorrent. Like, they were horrible. They missed 2 field goals. They allowed a 41-yard kickoff return. They tried to block punt, and I talked to some of the guys after the game, and they were just like, yeah, like, we thought they were going to do one thing. They just kind of checked at the line of scrimmage to another blocking scheme, and they picked it up. And it's like, that's what you got? That's the best you can do, is you don't have a returner deep. You think you have this wrinkle. They make one simple check at the line of scrimmage, and it's like nothing ever happened.
What happened?
Right.
Why?
Well,
How does it
the
get
ball
this
rolls
bad
and
on?
you lose.
It was a 69-yard punt.
Right.
It completely flipped the field position.
Right.
And it just you can't tell me that these coordinators should be here still. And you talk about, like, you know, the Bills with Ken Dorsey.
So that's what Fred opened with.
Make a change.
And, and at the time, I wanted to get into this rant. I kind of did this a little in the post game. But then I'm like, you know, we're Patriots Unfiltered. Do we have to? But, like, that to me, if you want to come out of a game and make a statement, do something. You know, I don't care if it's wrong. Just do something. Like, Joe Judge got to go.
But he's an
Well,
offensive assistant.
listen, we're in
Paul.
a bye week.
He's not
It's not to say something won't happen
No.
in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I just, like, for all the things that Evan said, and I really got annoyed by the punt, by some people really defending the decision on the punt, and Bill kind of, like, we did that last year against them. We saw something, and, you know, we blocked a punt, you know. Okay, like, first of all, I'm going to trust that you're not lying to me, which I've checked in the past, and I found out that you were, in fact, lying to me. You did not recount the situations the same, but I'm going to trust that that's accurate. I didn't go back and look. Like, so they're on their own 13-yard line with 12 minutes left in the second quarter, and this is the time that you deem to set. You know, and if it doesn't work that way, then you just you drop back and you set up a return. Why do we got to set up a return? Like, let's just assume it's like a 45-yard net on the punt, average run-of-the-mill net.
Right. You're going to have good
Right?
decent field.
I'm going to get the ball at my own 40.
Right.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Right.
Like, we're going to take the risk of.
We really need to score off special teams. Like, this is the only way we're getting in the end zone today is if we send the house
And
at
plus
them.
the fact
Plus, you
that
knew that you weren't going to get in a shootout.
and plus the
because
fact
they were playing their backup quarterback.
you're in a stadium where the punters are saying, yeah, you kind of can't go for the hang time because of the scoreboard there. So you knew it was going to be a kick that was going to roll anyway,
Yeah.
just because
That's
of
a
the
good
stadium.
point. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, but they were so not close to it that he got all of it, right? Like, usually when you send a
Well,
punt,
and that's what Bill said. Oh, he had a good punt.
yeah,
Oh,
because you weren't close.
But it wasn't a high punt.
But when you send a punt block like that, you at least think you're going to alter the punt. Like, the
Right.
guy's going to have to just get
Right.
it out of there, right?
Right.
And that didn't even happen. And I guess what they thought was going to happen was they thought that the Colts typically block man blocking, right? Just hat on a hat, man blocking on the punt. And they expected them to bring one of the gunners in to even the numbers in the man, and then they were going to overload a side. And I guess apparently the Colts just checked to a zone blocking scheme, and it just wasn't
all
set
was
up.
fine.
Yeah, and it was all fine. And I just, that's your ace in the hole, is to try to block a punt.
They've come a long way from the Chuck Pagano weird alignment.
no, and I got to be honest with you, Fred, and someone said that on the radio. I think there's not a lot different between those two things. I thought that was a ridiculous time to try to do that.
You know what would be perfect is if they fired Cam Acord and promoted Joe Judge now from offensive assistant to special teams.
But we know he's the special
I
teams
know,
coordinator.
I
We watched
know,
all the
I
training
know.
camps.
That's my whole.
He's
that's
the one
whole
yelling
point.
at everybody.
And, like, to Evan's point, like the field goal wasn't good. Okay, first of all. It was on the outside. I mean, it was over the top, but it was on the outside. And to be, like, I don't know what you're so angry about. Like, why is it like that every one of these games has to devolve into we got screwed? Like, after the game, it's we got screwed every week.
Who was the coach?
That's what we're talking about.
And he storms around like, I don't know.
It just
Like
2 years in a
Norman
row.
Schwarzkopf,
He's an
like,
offensive
ready to-
Last year it's him with the quarterbacks, and he's definitely part of the problem there. And they did the right thing with Patricia, and they said, look, let's just get you out of the building. Like, this just isn't going to work. He gets to stay. Now he's coordinating the special teams, and his special teams unit is a disaster. despite the fact that they pay all these guys to come in and play special teams. And they keep all the, Brandon Schoolers of the world and stuff like that on the roster. You can't tell me that they don't have good special teams players.
And I keep saying this, everybody points to the specialists. And I don't really I don't blame the coaching on the specialists. Much like I never gave credit for Nick Folk never missing a field goal, I never gave that credit to the Patriots, even though they were glad to take it. Okay? I don't blame Chad Ryland's
the operation
missing. Yeah, they do, Fred. You're right. They do take credit for it. But to me, that's different. I don't blame the fact that Barringer, again, had 2 touchbacks out of 4 punts or 5 punts, whatever he had, and he remains in the bottom third of punting. I don't blame that on the coaching.
Although that was a bomb.
Yeah,
70 yards in the air.
He had like a 79-yarder or something like that.
Yeah.
But the return, they continue to kick the ball short because they're smarter than everybody, and they continue to allow the guy to get beyond the 25. This one, coming off of your field goal to get within 1, allowed them to get to midfield on a 40-something yard return.
Well, at least the guy, Ty Montgomery, one of their special teams only guys, made the tackle.
Yeah.
There you go.
Saved a touchdown.
He did
You're
save
right.
a touchdown.
Earn his keep.
Okay.
I thought McKenzie was gone.
Now, the other way, when they do it the other way in Ty Montgomery, and he does this now virtually once a game early in the game, he tries to take one out, and he doesn't even get to the 20, let alone the 25. That's the stuff coupled with the litany of penalties they've had on special teams all year. That's the stuff that I'm putting on the special teams coaches. That kind of thing. So you had one play where you dialed up a blocked field goal that was tremendous. And how many are on the other side?
All of them.
Every other one is on the other side. They haven't made any impactful plays since week 2 on special teams, positively.
And this is 2 weeks in a row now that last week against the Commanders they completely imploded on special teams. Like
it largely cost them the game.
Yeah, and then this week you could make an argument in a 10-6 game that these little things
absolutely
cost you the game then too.
Yep.
I mean, you make 2 field goals, it's 12-10, and you win the game. It just I don't know what more evidence you need with those 2 coaches. I don't.
All right. Well, listen, that was Germany. Now
we haven't even talked about Jack Jones yet.
Yeah, well,
the Brats were great.
I think we should talk. I do want to get our listeners involved, but we should mention, as you said, Jack Jones released, and Bill's answer was it was just time to move on, and we all know that this was had something to do with off the field. It had nothing to do with performance.
Oh, it had plenty to do with performance. That was, to me, the final straw. The last 3 games on the field.
Well, if you're not going to play well, then
correct.
Right.
Correct.
Right. So he's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah.
4th round pick.
And he ain't coming back.
Picks from
I like
year.
someone asked him if he clears waivers, let's go to the Brats.
That was
no.
Yeah.
No.
That was the
probably
only
the most-
definitive question
That-
answer you
I know,
got.
that's probably the most honest answer he's given in weeks.
Right.
I liked that answer.
I'm not surprised at all. I mean, I don't think anybody
I'm just
was.
surprised it took this long.
Yeah.
And you guys know how I felt in June. I would have done it then.
But it's like, and then, Paul, you've been all over this. Like, why are you taking chances on this guy anyway? Like,
You continue to rely on unreliable players. And this is how you get to 2-8.
Yeah. So, okay. So Jack Jones is gone. And like I said, this is the bye. There's no telling what's going to happen between now and, a week from next Sunday.
Changes.
There
Changes.
could be. We're going
to see
Sounds like Fred might know something.
Now we're going to have a locker room open this afternoon. I don't anticipate we'll glean anything from that particular situation, but he said everything's on the table. I'm just curious, knowing how they are, I feel like they're going to come back with some significant changes, and Jack Jones was clearly the first shoe to fall.
So who do you think plays quarterback against the Giants?
Bailey
Zappi.
What about Will Greer?
I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if Mac is completely inactive for the game.
I was thinking Mac would be the third
Well,
quarterback.
he did go to the X-ray room after the game.
Yeah, he said
He's
he's
hit a
fine.
bruise.
fine.
So,
Got a bruise.
but I'm just saying that's the setup for
Right.
Yeah.
You can't say that.
Put him on IR.
Yeah.
Suddenly Andy's back on the show.
I think Zappi. I think everybody's kind of infatuated with Will Greer because he's an unknown commodity, and you haven't seen him go out and do the things you've seen like Bailey Zappi do, for better or worse.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, maybe he's amazing if you just give him a chance.
Let's see Will Greer.
I think it's probably Zappi.
I was so starved for any kind of offensive production that I said to Deuce, he threw the one to Henry on 3rd and 5. I was like, that was a good throw.
See?
I know.
That's how starved I was for anything.
Was
And
there
I
a
thought-
Zappi
and
chant
I
too
thought
in
the
the
one,
stadium?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, yes.
It
You could
was.
hear it.
I mean, but at that
But
point,
it wasn't until he was in.
Yeah. At that point, they were just trying
Yeah.
to support
Yeah.
him. But
That's why I'm kind of glad, like the the Giants game is at the Giants, so you can just kind of not have to worry about the Patriots.
I
fans
just don't
being
like.
all
So
over the
Tommy
team.
DeVito's going to start for the Giants, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And it's like how you. It might be really hard to lose to Tommy DeVito.
I can't see them losing. I know I've picked them the last 2 weeks, and I've been wrong the last 2 weeks. But
what's it look like with Zappy? Like I mean, it's like
It's
an
going to
unknown.
look better
What a
than this.
waste.
Yeah, I
It
hope
cannot
so.
look worse than what it was.
One
on
question
Sunday.
I have is, what is the mood in the locker room at the Giants compared to the Patriots? Because like we're hearing some things like
Yeah.
it's not good right now here. I don't like. Are they still playing for Dable? In other words,
That's a good
you know?
question. That's probably a deep dive over the next couple of
Yeah.
weeks. Are they're playing this week? The Giants? Do they have a game this week? Does anybody know off the top of their skulls? No.
I do not know. that.
Yeah, I don't know.
The
I mean,
Giants are playing the
it's
Commanders.
just such an
Playing the
interesting.
Commanders.
Oh boy, it's just such a different dynamic though when you have a backup quarterback, and the Patriots are rolling out a first-round pick who is supposed to be the guy. I mean, I think to me that's a major impact on what the move is. When a team's like, look, we got our backup quarterback. Like, we don't have to take it too
If Tyrod
seriously.
Taylor
but,
were playing in this game,
ooh, that's a good one.
I don't think that they would beat
That's a
the
good one.
Giants, to Evan's point.
a
But I
good
think
one.
Tommy DeVito, they tried to play an NFL game the other day without really throwing passes, kind of indoors. I don't think you can do that.
What a
Oh,
what
the
a mistake.
I mean, the Patriots made history. I mean, they managed to take a 6th-round quarterback, and he turned into the greatest of all time. And they took a 1st-round quarterback, and he should have been in the 6th round. So,
You have a lot of tone today. I like it.
I think we're
I
all
like
still a
it.
little tired.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
a little angry and
This morning was
testy.
Today was the first day I woke up and I felt normal.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I have to admit, I slept well last night. I got in a little after 9 o'clock.
I'm still getting up real early.
You got home 9 o'clock last night?
Yeah.
Oh, you sound great for that.
Yeah.
I thought you were home earlier than that.
No, but that's fine. 9 o'clock, got a good night's sleep.
Yeah, I purposely stayed up on the plane on the way back on Sunday so I could
watched 3
sleep.
movies.
Yeah, I watched 3 movies
I did too.
And I was sitting with two people. I don't know if they want me to say their names over there, but we were like, let's watch movies together. We'll talk about it. We'll all stay awake. The two of them, an
really?
hour into the flight, and I'm just like, nope, I'm staying up. Like I'm doing it.
Sounds like you guys had a pajama party.
It was pretty. That was
Did
the
you do
idea.
each other's hair too?
Bradley couldn't
No.
hang, huh?
No, it wasn't Bradley, but he was jealous that it wasn't Bradley. Like he was like, you guys are all sitting together except me.
We had a good trip. It was a good trip.
Yeah.
Good
All
bonding
right,
experience.
let's go to the phones. 855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket hotline. Web radio at Patriots.com is the email address. Both phones in. Email is lit up. Let's go to Christian in L.A. What's up, Christian?
Hey, you guys, how you doing today?
Okay.
Welcome back from Germany and that thing. So 3 quick comments, and here we go. On Bill Belichick, I think 9 times out of 10, when the coach is on the verge of getting fired or the thing is collapsing, it's because that coach has attached himself, whether of his own or someone else's, to a quarterback who can't play. Quarterbacks are coach killers.
Yep.
That's number 1.
I would agree with
Number
that.
2, Mac Jones, apparently we got the runt of the litter of the Alabama quarterbacks of late. I think it's time, obviously, for him to go. We're not going to exercise his 5th-year option, but I do think we owe him a soft landing. I think to apologize for sort of the mismanagement of his early development, I think that was on us, so we owe him a soft landing. But I think it's time to move on. Here's my big idea. I think over this next 2 weeks, we bring in Malik, let him put together some packages for him, and at the same time, start looking at Dallas to trade for Trey Lance. Mac Jones would be a great replacement for Dak. They sort of play a similar style of football, and that would be a great soft landing for Mac. We have the rest of this year for Bill to develop the offense around, the Malik-type quarterback, and then we have Trey Lance developing the rest of this year and all during the offseason. He's got the tools to be one of these new age quarterbacks. That's my big idea.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about it a little bit. Thanks, Christian.
The only idea at quarterback is it Drake May or Caleb Williams? That's it.
Yeah.
Like there's no
But
other
what if
question.
you can get somebody like Trey Lance, or we were talking about Justin Fields, and you can get Marvin Harrison?
I know you're just like offering the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
But it's no. If you don't have the quarterback, you don't have anything.
Yeah.
That's simple.
But what if? All right.
What if the
So
first 2 picks
There's a
are
lot of
out?
hypotheticals.
What if you have
We-
the 3rd pick and you can't get him?
Exactly.
That's the only reason. Like that's the only way I'm taking Marvin Harrison is like.
But if you can't get those 2 guys, I don't hate the idea of Trey Lance. I don't really. I'm just scratching my head trying to figure out one similarity between Mac Jones and Dak Prescott. Like, I don't really know of one similarity.
I was gonna let that.
There we go.
There's nothing physically
Okay.
similar about
Here we go.
any of them.
You can't do the cadence. You keep
turned-
laughing during the
we are
cadence.
brutal.
You've
Jeez.
turned mean. I'm not mean. I might be snarky, but I'm not mean. You're mean. But seriously, what is the physical similarity between Dak Prescott and Mac Jones?
No. And I'm just looking forward to playing these games for the next 6 months.
So, in other words, I don't really understand why Mac
Jones.
Jones would be valuable to Dallas in this trade. They obviously looked into Lance as a reclamation kind of project. Well, you know,
Who plays a similar style to Dak Prescott.
right. And if we can rehab him,
Yeah.
you know, Dak's had some injury problems. Maybe his career's not going to be one of these 20-plus year careers that some of the others have. We have Trey Lance. I don't really see anything about Mac Jones that's like Trey Lance.
And if he's shown any promise at Dallas since he's been there, why would they want to get rid of him? The only reason they want to give him to you is if they got him in their building and they said, this kid can't play.
they
Like,
see
we've
him
gotten
in
an
practice.
up-close look.
Right.
Like, yeah, fine, take him.
But, yeah, I do worry that even though they are seemingly ticketed for the top 5, do you need to be 1 or 2 to get one of those two guys?
You know, I totally hear that. I just, to me, they need a new starting quarterback in 2024.
Right.
It's
however
they get there. I guess we can deliberate over the next
we will.
6 months, which I'm sure
and
we
we had
will.
we had a guy call in and saying, like, you know, it's a done deal. You can't get one of those two. And I was like, well, why? Like,
Yeah.
they're in the top 5 now, and like I still think there's this notion of people that think they will not finish with a top 5 pick because that's blasphemous around here. Like, they're 2-8. Everything is on the table, and I got to tell you, I watched a good portion of that Atlanta-Arizona game. Kyler Murray is going to win a couple of games for them. That might be one less team you have to worry about finishing behind.
And they might also just not
take a quarterback.
Not take a quarterback.
No,
if they believe in Kyler.
I know that, but I don't think, you know, if you had to ask me right now who's going to win more games the rest of the way, Arizona or Patriots, I wouldn't think twice of who I was betting on.
Yeah, I understand the arguments of, you know, and I've been there the whole season. The next quarterback has to have a better supporting cast than this.
Yeah.
That's apparent, but in my mind, like, you have $90 million in cap space to work with in the veteran market. Like, why not just sign T. Higgins or, you know, it's trade for somebody that Brandon Ayuk or whoever comes available and build the supporting cast in the veteran market and draft the quarterback. Like, that to me is just
It's 21.
right.
2021.
It's
so
just
what
as
is
easy.
it like? So if Carolina gets the number 1 pick, that would be Chicago, right?
Yep.
So it's Chicago's 1, and let's say the Giants are 2.
Yeah.
The Patriots are 3, and Arizona's behind, something like that. Or if, you know, so in other words, the Patriots can't get May or Williams. I wonder if that opens the door for them to maybe trade with somebody, and then you get maybe Kyler Murray in that trade. And, you know, try to work it that way. If Arizona just decides we're going to just take the next quarterback, I think that's unlikely because if you're not going to be able to get one of those top 2, now I'm with Evan. I don't know which one they're going to fall in love with, but I got to think one of those 2 guys is good enough for you to take, Williams or May.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't believe that all of these guys are wrong about these 2 guys.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a good argument to be made that they could make a trade like that and maybe acquire another top 50 pick this year. So now they would have 3 top 50 picks, or even if, like, they trade with Chicago, for example, and they get both their picks or something like that, then that would be a good trade probably. But I just, you can't keep spinning the dial at quarterback. Like, you have to have an answer at that spot.
Let's see. Rashad's in Baltimore. Hey, Rashad.
Hey, what's up, guys? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
line 3. Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to try to be too long, but I know last week I called and said I don't want Zappy, but I think we got to start Zappy. Like, if we want to chance at that pick, we got to start that. Like, we got to just, like, if we're going to tank, we got to fully tank. And that Giants game next week, that's the game I'm not missing. Like, we have to lose that game. We have to lose that game. Like, all these games we could have won this year, that can't be the one game that we're going to win. We got to lose that game.
Yeah, I mean, I get the theory. I just don't think it's realistic that they're
Thanks, Rashad.
going to roll over and not win on purpose. Now, who knows? Maybe they'll decide after the bye week, well, we think Matt gives us the best chance to win, because that would be kind of tanking.
Yeah.
If Matt gets trotted out there again, that's kind of an indication that you're tanking.
Or making a human sacrifice.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, I think for his own benefit, you don't start. I mean, he's a wreck right now.
That's kind of, and I wrote this morning in my note. It's as much about like, let him just take some time off.
Right.
Like, give him some, and I think Evan's point about the possibility of him not being active in the game is valid. I think that you might see Zappe and Greer, both active.
Wouldn't you love to be a fly in the wall, the next 2 weeks in practices and in the position rooms?
Not particularly.
I would just like to know how they're coaching this week.
Be like a snuff film.
I think that, and I know that other people have brought this up, I think one of the bigger problems is that they are coaching the same way. And I think that some people would say, oh, well, what else would you do besides? But what I mean by it is, like, these players it's hard to play here. Like, these players are going through these practices. They're staying late. They're in these meetings for hours on end. Yep. They're getting chewed out in film sessions by the coaching staff because they're brutally honest, like worse than us. And they're going through all of these things to be 2-8. And at this point, like, that's why, I said last week that I wouldn't fire Bill midseason out of respect to what he's accomplished here. And I still largely feel that way. But at the same time, it now does set up as a nice time with the bye week that if you're already going to do it at the end of the year, and I don't know, but if you are already going to do it at the end of the year, I do think it's maybe worth seeing how they respond to Gerard Mayo and just how he takes over the room and how guys, what's the rules under his regime and how do guys feel about it and that sort of thing, and get the pulse of the locker room of, is this better? Is this easier? And when I say easier, I don't mean you work less hard, but just easier. But kind of like with the Raiders, like right now.
But kind of along the lines of what they did to Bailey Zappi, is it fair to Mayo? Like to Zappi, all right, go fix it. It's a mess, and is it? And I'm not saying I don't think it is. I'm wondering.
I like the way Evan put it, though. I don't think they would be looking for him to go fix it. I think they're looking to see how they respond to him. Some of the players respond. Now, Fred makes a good point too. There might not be a lot of guys in there that you care how they respond to anybody.
Right.
But there should be enough. I mean, all your guys that are on rookie contracts are going to be here next year.
It's just a good opportunity to basically have him audition for the job and see how it goes. This to me is like almost worst in some ways. It's almost worse to Bill, because it's just like we know you're just going to keep losing.
Can't believe I'm going out like this.
Right, exactly. It makes you wonder.
Tim's in Carolina. Hey, Tim.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
Yeah, so I kind of just looking at the Jets schedule down the, for the rest of the season, and looking at the Giants the rest of the season. I actually think both those teams could end up with a higher pick than the Patriots, just based on the strength of schedule.
I think the Jets already have enough wins to not finish behind the Patriots.
Yeah, the Jets have, 4 wins?
They have 4 wins. And if the Patriots beat them and the Patriots beat the Giants.
No, the Giants, I think, are going to finish with a worse record than the Patriots. I think you're right on that one. The Jets are going to win 1 or 2 more, just like you will, and then they'll be ahead of you. I don't think you have to worry. I don't worry as much about the Jets. I worry about the Giants.
Either way, I don't think they're going to have a top 1 or 2 pick, and I actually think they're going to miss out on both of those quarterbacks.
Maybe.
I have this feeling, and I don't see. I mean, if Bill's in charge at the draft, we're not trading up. We're not doing the Kyle Shanahan 3 first-rounders trade up. I just don't see that happening either.
Well, they also wouldn't have to do that.
If that's the case,
if they're like 3, you don't have to trade three first-rounders to move to 2. Like if you're 12, you have to trade 3 first-rounders to move to 2. But that's a little different.
I don't even see them trading 1. I
could
even see them doing it.
If you love the quarterback, you better.
I could. Yeah, I absolutely could. But we'll see. Yeah. I don't think we'll see who's making the decisions too.
Do you guys watch the college games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Tamara.
Hi.
I don't know if you guys watched Michael Penix play this weekend, but the wind was whipping there in Washington.
Yeah.
Unbelievable arm in bad weather.
Yeah, I saw a little of him.
That kid play. Yeah, I thought, he'd be a nice consolation prize if they miss out on the first two.
You want to take him with like the
really do.
third or fourth pick?
Well,
that's
I think
too high
if you're
for
looking
me.
at the draft board, I would look at, who can you, if you can trade down and there aren't other teams that are looking for a quarterback, like maybe you can trade down 2 or 3 spots and get an additional pick in there and then pick up the quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm all set on that.
Thanks,
plan.
Tim.
I'm not interested in Michael Penix in the top 10.
Me neither.
I'm not. I
Yeah.
mean, if you want to say, like, you're going to be picking with the 3rd or 4th pick of the second round, and you want to maybe move up into the bottom of the first round to get someone like Penix or J.J. McCarthy even. Like, I don't really love him either. But that I could be sold on. But I'm going to maneuver around to reach for a quarterback that I don't think a lot of people think is a top 10 guy. Now, maybe I'm dead wrong on that. He's a little older.
He's 24, too bad.
With 2 torn ACLs.
In the same knee.
And he throws lefty.
Yeah, but he does have a good arm.
Throwing lefty is killer, though. Can't have that.
A lot of lefties don't have strong arms. He does. He's right. The caller, Tim, is right about
Why do you say that?
I don't know, but
It's a left
I'm
arm
just
weaker.
telling you.
Michael Vick had a pretty strong arm.
Michael Vick was another exception. He threw the ball as
Go
well as
Hokies.
anybody.
I just, with Penix, I'm still waiting to see if Penix can, hit anything at the first level of the defense. Like, every time I watch
He does
him,
have really good receivers in college,
yeah,
too.
Yeah,
Back to the Mac thing.
his I'm gonna butcher his name.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
He's gonna be a first round pick.
Rooney,
yeah, his
something,
his
yeah.
top receiver at Washington is gonna be a first round pick.
Good players.
I just, with Penix, he throws a pretty deep ball, and he can move a little bit, and he can throw on the run, can do all that kind of stuff.
I like Penix.
Yeah,
I do.
yeah. I worry about the in structure stuff though. Like, is he going to be able to read out the field and make those types of throws from the pocket? And I worry about that with Caleb Williams too. Also,
Have you guys done any of the research on that? Like, are there mocks that are already out? Like, where's Penix? Am I way off on that? Is he
no,
gonna
yeah,
be,
Penix is going to be a first round pick. That's for sure.
But top 5?
Top
like
5.
He wants to go into the top 5.
Well, I mean, it depends. All this stuff always depends on the pre-draft process.
Because I've been thinking of him as a bottom half of the first round kind of guy.
No. Top half of the first round, I think.
Okay, all right. So
I mean, just because he plays quarterback.
Tim, you got him. I'm not interested in him that high.
I mean, I shouldn't say that. Like, who knows? Like, Will Levis was supposed to be a first round pick, and he ended up falling to the first pick of the second round. So you never know.
But that's I would say that's fine. Like, is there a huge difference between 26 and 33? No. But there's a huge difference between 4 and 33.
No, yeah. I would look at Penix as a guy that's probably in I don't know, the 8 to 15 range. Like, he's
Bleacher
tier
Report
2.
has him as number 21 overall.
That's in my mind. Now, I don't want to be lockstep with Bleacher Report, but in my mind, that's where I think
right.
of
But
him.
if they have him 21 overall and he has a good pre-draft and he's a quarterback, he's going to go 10 picks higher than 21.
Yep.
So,
and it's going to be
like
the
Mac.
teams. Yeah, it's going to be the team. Exactly. I wouldn't have taken. No.
Yeah.
We don't have,
But
we don't have to re-legislate that.
I think this one is a little bit more, Zach Wilson-y, where he's gonna Penix is gonna look really good throwing the ball at his pro day because he's got a hell of an arm. So it's gonna look good in shorts and a t-shirt no matter where he's at.
That's what people say about J.J. McCarthy, but I don't see that when I watch Michigan play.
No, J.J. McCarthy I think has he's definitely more toolsy than Mac. He can move around more than Mac, but he worries me because it's similar where Michigan's just loaded. So he's standing behind an offensive line that never allows pressure. He's got an incredible run game, incredible defense. What does he really have to do in a lot of these games?
What do you think of the comparison to Penix Jr. to Tua Tagovailoa?
Well, they're both lefties. I think that's kind of where it ends for me. I mean, maybe pre-hip injury Tua had an arm like Penix, but I think Tua's a much, much better anticipatory thrower. He's much better at playing quarterback. And that's my whole thing with this draft is when we start looking at these QBs, who plays quarterback and who's just an athlete playing quarterback.
and
I want the quarterback.
And
I don't want the athlete.
The other thing I would say with those two is, Tua played a couple of years at Alabama. Penix has been in college football for like 6 years. Like, he should be at a level higher at this point. Now he's playing against, kids that he has 3 times as much experience as. You know what I mean? Like, that's a big difference. I think he spent 3 years at Indiana and 3 at Washington or something like that.
No, I get why people draw the comparisons because they're both lefties, but I think his strengths are much different than Penix's. Penix is a raw talent, whereas Tua has all those little.
And you know what's
things.
funny? Even though I think Tua has been successful, I don't think he would have gone as high had people not felt that he could be the dual threat. Because I loved him at Alabama. I thought he was, another dual threat kind of guy who could really throw. To Evan's point, with the anticipation and stuff like that. That's what he's brought to the NFL, but he doesn't really bring the running element at all. And he's small, so he shouldn't be running around a ton with all the injuries that he's had. But I'm not sure he would have been the 5th pick if people realized he wasn't going to be a dual threat guy.
He definitely doesn't go over Herbert if they'd realize that. The one guy that's really intriguing to me, I'm not a big Penix guy. Bart's a little bit higher on Penix than I am, I think. But Jaden Daniels from LSU,
I love him.
That's the one guy that I really, if you're not going to get the tier 1 guys, which is Caleb and Drake May, Jaden Daniels has.
Can you get him in the bottom of the first round?
Maybe. I think that there's a possibility.
Sign me up, Fred.
And if you have
he's like 6 foot, right?
6'4".
Oh, he's big.
Is
that who's the other Daniels for what?
Mark Daniels.
Mark.
Are you thinking of Jordan Travis from Florida State? Because I get those two mixed up all the time. And Travis is small.
Jaden Daniels
has got good size.
I forget who they were playing, but there was a conference game. He had 600 total yards of offense last week.
Yeah,
over
he's another
300.
one that's been in college for a while. He should
Yeah.
be dominating, but
Yeah.
I do like the skill set there.
All right, so at this time we welcome Tamara Brown to the show.
Hi.
Tamara, how you doing? How was your Germany experience?
I'm definitely jet lagged. Still recovering from the time difference, but overall, I was blown away by Patriots Nation in Frankfurt. I don't know. I kind of went into Germany with no expectation, so I think that might have been it too. But just the support throughout the week, just seeing there were so many more Patriots fans there than Colts fans.
Oh yeah.
Like all week long, people were like, "Have you seen any Colts fans?" I'm like, "No, the only thing I've seen Colts is the Colts cheerleaders." That was the only thing that I saw downtown. Other than that, it was a bunch of Patriots jerseys. Patriots fans were everywhere. They were so welcoming. They were so excited. I don't know if it was for PU specifically or you know Patriots.
It was
Patriots specifically, but just blown away. I mean, even with the loss, I felt like Patriots Nation there was incredible.
Yeah.
It was great.
And you enjoyed yourself?
I did. Had really great food. I went back to that restaurant that you took me to. Like, I had to go back there again. I think that was my last meal in Germany.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. It was pretty cold there, though.
Yeah, it was chilly.
I was a little surprised.
Was it really cold the last day? Because it seemed like everybody was bundled up.
Game day looked like it was really cold.
Game day was the coldest day.
Okay.
Monday, I was there afterwards, and it was pouring. So we were lucky to not get any of that, you know.
The weather was exactly what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I was just watching the game. It looked like it was colder than when Mike and I were there.
Yeah,
No, I
so
was.
chilly.
My fingers were like, because you're completely outdoors, and my fingers were working slow.
Is that why you had to take a break?
No, when it's cold out, you have to, go to the bathroom a little bit more.
Is that a fact?
Also, there was nothing for him to be reporting on in that game.
No, I know, but someone sent a screenshot of the blog. Be back in 5 minutes.
And in the press, they don't have their own bathroom. You have to go down the stairs and out to the concourse.
Oh, wow.
So you're in the same bathroom as all the fans.
Oh, man.
Interesting.
With the steerage?
Interesting.
Yeah. So that was different. But you sat in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How was that experience?
Wild. So the ushers, the crazy thing, I have a video. The ushers, like, they pump the fans up. So they're ushering, people to their seats, but they're also pumping up the fans, like making them get loud and stuff. I'm like, they don't do that here. Like, it was incredible. Alex and I got a good video of it. I had never seen that before. But
do you like it when they sang?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Country roads is a little bit weird considering
How'd they
like
come up
the
with that?
Colts and New England are not country roads.
They sing
type
that
of
at
every
game.
game.
Yeah.
But
That's just one of their songs.
They love it.
it was interesting.
But it was the way they did it, and they all had their
Yeah.
camera lights on. And I got a little choked up, I have to say.
Did you really?
Now, when you say they always sing, what do you mean? Like just fans generally for the games in Germany?
I was.
They did it last week for the Miami.
And I was
Kansas
in
City
Munich
game.
last year. They did it. And
Yeah.
They, because I was in the bar last year in Munich, and we had a German DJ, and he was playing like all classic rock from the '80s,
bangers,
and they love all that music.
That was what
Like
I was
Logan
really
Roy's birthday
surprised
party.
about was that they didn't play. Like I was thinking that we were gonna go hear some dunce,
Right.
none of that. It's
Oh, you
yeah.
ready?
Yeah.
Well, for that
Yeah.
matter,
Well, like
Sprockets.
Gibson, we did.
Sprockets.
Just
For that
but
matter.
like no, like Gibson, like Gibson, after the show,
host, Dita.
it was like Rihanna, like they were playing like American music, and like every once in a while they would mix in some like a German house song or something, and I had to ask Yannick like what they were saying, and it was not safe for air.
Kommissar.
Well, our biggest export is entertainment, movies, music.
Yeah.
That's what we export the most.
And all the German people that
Latex.
were there, they all knew the words. Like they were all into it. Like that was the music they wanted to hear.
There must just be a bunch of Germans that have this like glowing impression of West Virginia, though. Like, man, that must be the best over there. West Virginia, that's what
is
it's all
horrible.
about.
10 out of 10. Do not recommend. Do not recommend.
Unfortunately, I've spent time there. I would put it in the bottom 3 of states.
Let's go to Neek in Australia. What's up, Neek? Neek.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Nope.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good.
Great.
Just got a question for Evan and Mike.
Oh, okay.
Mike, first of all, do you think Billy O'Brien will be back next year? And if so, do you want him to return? And for Evan, if we do end up with a top pick, who would you take? Would you take May or would you take Williams? I know that obviously it's probably the consensus number one pick, but I want to hear your opinion on it.
I'd just say I'd be open to Billy O coming back. I mean, I don't think he's gotten a totally fair shake, and I think he's modern. We talked last year things that modern teams are doing. I think he's on that tip. I still like Billy O. I haven't lost faith in him.
But here's the thing: if let's say you have the first or second pick, and you can choose your quarterback, Billy O is eventually going to leave for a head coaching job. Do you want to rather that get a head coach who chooses his offensive coordinator, but it's his offense. It's the head coach's offense.
Yeah, we've had those conversations. I mean, it's something I think you got to make peace with if you're not going to choose an offensive coordinator as your coach. I mean, unless you want to just cut it down the middle and say, look, we're only looking at offensive coaches and he's going to bring his own guy and that. But I don't know if you want to limit yourself that much. That's just part of life. I mean, even if you have a great head coach and there's going to be a coordinator that comes in, and I mean, you're looking at it with Buffalo a little bit right now, where they have the defensive coach. That's what happened. It's tough to navigate. I just don't know if there's that perfect offensive mind that you're ready to hand the keys to just yet.
Thanks, Nick.
Hold on.
Yeah.
What?
Evan?
Drake May.
Yeah.
Drake May.
Thomas writes in, fun fact, Country Roads was initially written about Western Mass, but they decided that West Virginia sounded better than Massachusetts, so they changed a bunch of words, and he cites Wikipedia.
Really? John Denver?
Oh, then it must be true then.
Yeah.
John Denver?
It's on
I was just
Wikipedia.
surprised it wasn't
Paul.
about Colorado, because John Denver was a Colorado guy, right? Like, that was always
Nice
what
dude.
missed me up, Nice.
That was nice.
Just a fun fact.
I love a good country road sing along. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh,
Like I hear that all the time in Blacksburg, Virginia, but not in Frankfurt, Germany. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. Eldred in North Carolina. What's up, Eldred?
Got a little choked up.
Hey, fellas and lady, how y'all doing?
Good.
2 questions. Since they got rid of Jack Jones, any chance Bowling coming back, or he's gone, or he's injured out for the whole year?
Out for
He's
the
on
year.
IR.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's out.
That dog. Well, so much for that one. And Evan,
Yes, sir.
I agree with Bart. I disagree with you on Michael Penix. I saw him play Sunday, and he does. Saturday. And they're playing again this Saturday. And Drake, that Caleb Williams guy, he done dropped some in the poll. So they got him, they got Penix, May, the other guy from UCLA, and my guy, Jordan Travis, top runners for the Heisman Trophy, and they're going for the pick. So that was showed up Saturday. So I want to take Caleb Williams with a 10-foot pole.
Okay.
I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah. I'm,
Thanks, Eldred.
I'm definitely skeptical of Caleb Williams at this point, I think is the way to put it. I feel very, very concerned about his attitude, his father, all of it. Very concerned. Like, I do not want LeVar Ball here in New England. I have no time for it. Like, if you're going to go run your mouth, if you're going to go on ESPN and say that it's all, the coach's fault and, he has nobody to throw to and yada, 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 like, I got no time for that. Like, at least, leak it anonymously, like the current quarterback, don't actually, put your face on it. So I'm concerned about that with Caleb Williams for sure.
Why isn't Jordan Travis, him actually bringing it up, just made me think of it. Why isn't Florida State's quarterback getting as much, I guess, talk, even though they're undefeated and
he's a Heisman Trophy candidate, big time.
Yeah, so
yeah, he's a Heisman Trophy candidate. I'm not. I don't know. I'm not as familiar with him as the other guys, just because he isn't in that conversation as like a first round guy. But he is a little bit on the smaller side, a little bit on the older side, I think, too, right? We looked this up the other day.
6 years.
Yeah. I don't know exactly, from a football standpoint, why he's not higher, but my guess is one of those guys, whether it's him, Bo Nix, I think, Bart just texted me that Ewers might go back to Texas, which is a little surprising because they have Arch Manning there. One of those guys going to end up being my favorite day 2 guy. I don't know who it's going to be, but one of them is
one of you guys.
Yeah, one of those guys is going to be the guy that I'm putting the flagpole in for. Like, if you have to take one on day 2, this is who I would take.
Question: would you take 2? Like, would you find a new backup? Like, because you don't love Zappy. So
you do the Robert Griffin
too high.
I would not do that.
No, not too high. Like one early. Like
one
and then one late.
Like RG3, like Mike said. Yeah. First and fourth round, I would not do that.
I do like first and sixth.
No, I wouldn't.
I know he's hurt, but if they were to do that, the Duke quarterback is kind of interesting.
Riley Leonard.
I don't know who they. Depends on who they draft.
Quarterbacks, Mike.
If they draft a guy
that was.
Yeah, if they draft a guy that's like super athletic and that's not Riley Leonard, I don't think is going to be a great transition backup to that. But if they still have a guy that they hope and an offense that they hope is going to be more of like a pocket passing, traditional offense, then I've liked what I saw from him before he got hurt.
Yeah, I'm not big on like rookie backup quarterback. I want a guy who's been around a little bit.
Chris with a TIAN is calling in. What's up, Christian?
Hey, lady. Hey, guys. How's it going?
All right.
Hi.
Hey.
Meh.
I had a question about the possibility of Bill returning next year, and would you ever see a scenario where at the end of the year Bill says to Robert, I'm 72. I got both my kids on the staff. I really don't want to start over. I really want to leave here, on good terms and leave the team in a good place. I'll, welcome a GM and defer to GM on the roster. Do you ever envision any scenario where that could happen? And do you ever see Robert considering that, saying, geez, I want him here too? Like, is there ever, me personally, I want to start over. I want to wipe the slate clean. I'm with Deuce the whole way. Do you guys ever see Bill doing that?
I can't rule it out. I'd say I bet heavily against it. However, by the time the season's over and Bill kind of reflects on things, maybe he would be willing to do that. But right now, you're telling me I have to put my money on, I'd say no way.
I just how could he expect to be successful suddenly allowing someone else to pick his players for him? It just doesn't seem like it's a set up for success that way.
Well, you still collab.
Yeah.
But it's someone else's final decision.
I hate collab so much.
I know. It's such a big word these days, though. But it's someone else has final say. But of course they're going to listen to Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Are they?
They should.
They should.
I think if you're going to ask him to coach, he should be on board.
Oh
with
yeah,
the pick.
that I don't know why we're listening to him.
Yeah.
Period. But I have no interest in that setup. I understand where the point is. I'm not trying
to it's not it. But
you want to keep Bill in the mix.
The question
but
is,
not,
would Bill be open to it?
I just think that the issue is, and I've had this issue with Matt Groh in the past, is it depends on who I guess, because if it's just one of these guys that owes their career to Bill, then what difference does it make? If they just hand it over to Matt Groh and they say, oh, well, now you have final say, but Bill's his dad's best friend and he's got to, tell Bill, put Bill in his place. He's not going to do that.
Well, yeah, no, that's fair.
So it's just, it depends on who it is, I guess. But it would have to be somebody with some serious clout, that's done it for years and done it successfully, and someone that can really stand up to Bill, and I don't know if any of the guys that have been through here are going to do that.
Thanks. All right.
He's way too old for it now. But I was thinking a guy like Ernie Accorsi, just to Evan's point, like somebody really established that had been a bunch of places that, that could be that type of guy.
Isn't he retired?
Yeah.
Ernie Accorsi?
Yeah. I mean, he's way up there.
Like 25 years ago.
Right. Like
he just meant somebody like
Oh,
that.
like that. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Somebody with cachet. Thanks, Christian.
But I kind of want to go the other way.
Yeah. New.
Yeah. It's hard because you have to identify someone who hasn't done it.
Yeah.
Or like doesn't have a track record. But I think they need to be a little bit innovative in what they do.
Adam's in London. Hello, Adam.
Hey, everyone. I just wanted to thank you all. I mean, I rang into the post game and I thanked Paul and Mike for the event at Gibson, but it was great to meet the rest of you as well on Friday. I never thought I'd be doing the worm on a dance off and getting on stage.
Was that you?
Vince and the guys, so.
Was that you doing the worm? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You came out there and just blew everyone away. Yeah.
Quite
impressive.
What you got to do to meet Vince, right?
Yeah.
That's enough positivity, though. Okay, I think heads have got to roll. Like I said, when I called in on the post game, I think I was still in the high of being in Frankfurt and going to the game, but now I'm back home in the UK. I think some heads have got to roll. I don't think that we will get rid of Bill mid-season. We're not that team kind of thing. I think everything he's done for us, end of the year, maybe we kind of say thank you and goodbye. But Evan, I think I'm with you. Cam McCord or Joe Judge, I mean, the special teams just needs to be changed. We have all these core special teamers that don't really play a role offensively or defensively. We preach about being so great in it, and it's just failing. I mean, I watched with my mouth wide open at that punt block, a 60, 70-yard field flipper. I get what they were trying to do, but still, I was just perplexed. And, today we've seen Buffalo have seen an issue. It hates me talking about complimenting the Bills, but Buffalo have identified an issue, and they've reacted. I just think, what are we telling the fan base if we're just rolling out the same thing that clearly isn't working? I think we need to send a message. But I'll take it offline, guys. But yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks, Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
Like that.
When a coach does that, like, RA fired the offensive coordinator this morning, do you think, that is an owner that says, hey, you got to do something. This is unacceptable.
It might be.
Yeah,
I think McDermott's trying to save his own butt, honestly.
That might be that too.
Yeah.
It's also been in the works for like a better part of a year and a half.
Yeah.
I honestly thought
because they still have a shot. I mean, the season's
that's
not
why
over.
That's why I would do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's why I think it was the right thing to do.
They have more than a shot. Like, if they get Josh Allen playing like Josh Allen again, and they're going to
I know we joke around like 9-8 is still in play.
I told you that was going to be a problem.
That's all over their message boards, right?
Oh, really? Yeah. No. Yeah. Oh, just like it'll
dopes
be
like you that think that's why the ball went through Gabe Davis's hands.
It is. I have proof of it, Paul.
It's not that though, but the attention to detail, Paul, it hasn't been there.
He did drop one of those fumbles last night. That was on him. One of the handoffs to James Cook. He dropped. The ball was coming out of his hands, and the pick at the end of the half was on him.
Is the OC's fault? Do you blame him for the too many men on the field that last play?
No, that's why I think that this is a scapegoat move.
Whose fault is that?
That was DeMar Hamlin's fault because he came in as an injury replacement and then didn't get off the field.
Okay.
Which is sad because it was like his first defensive snap since he came back. And then I think he was the guy that was out there too long. But what I don't like is when I get the respect thing for Bill because he won 6 titles and all that he's done for the organization. That I understand. I don't understand, you don't want to make those kind of reactionary moves. You don't want to be one of those teams. So every team that's ever fired a guy was the wrong thing to do. Because it was reactionary. You don't want to be one of those teams that's on the quarterback carousel because, and I keep using the Jets as an example.
No, you don't want to be, but sometimes you find yourself on it.
Sometimes you draft Sam Darnold and he doesn't work out.
Right.
And you realize he's not working out. I'm going to change. Then I'm going to draft Zach Wilson. And you realize it's not working out. I'm going to go and make a trade for Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing. It's bad that you're missing. But I don't think it's bad that you're saying, I identified this guy, he can't do it.
You don't want to be one of those teams without a franchise quarterback. Yeah, you don't.
No, of course not.
Not everyone can have him.
But when you recognize that you don't have one, the longer you wait, the more you set the process back.
And that's what I think we all kind of figured out this weekend.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of how I feel about the either ors of like, okay, Marvin Harrison or a quarterback is like, all you're doing is kicking the quarterback can down the road.
And I just think I think everybody looks at that San Francisco thing and says, let's do it that way.
Well,
and it's so much harder to do it that way.
So, Ev, how much do you think you'll be, and I mean, I might be right there with you, but if they're picking third overall, and it seems like May's going to go first, are we pounding the table to try to get up and get him? I mean, is there any chance to get him? Like,
yeah,
if
I mean, well, it depends. Like, obviously,
so you like both these guys? Well,
he likes May.
May.
You have
he's
a
a
little
May
problem
guy.
with Williams,
All the way May.
But
it's gotta be May.
If May's gone and you can get Williams, you're saying get him?
Oh yeah, I'd run the card up there.
So you're not afraid to take Williams?
No, I'm not afraid to take him. It's just given the situation, I would prefer to take May, but. And I know that there's a lot of draft analysts now that are starting to sway to him being
I
number
got
1,
issue
too.
with that. Because I think Williams is the most talented quarterback, but if you're afraid to take him, then don't take him.
I think his baggage, is going to be problematic.
I think that's why May is leapfrogging him, is because of the LeVar Ball thing that Evan's talking about.
I have to. This is one of the hardest parts for us about the draft is like unfortunately we can't interview these guys like the teams do, and we don't do the background like the teams do and stuff like that.
Right.
You have to find out about Caleb Williams, like what is he really like? What do his teammates think about him? What was Lincoln Riley? What does he think about him? What do people in his inner circle think about him? Because on the outside looking in, there's been comments to the media that he's made that I haven't really loved, that earlier this year that were a little bit spotty. His dad is very, very LeVar Ball like, and then he's crying in his mom's arms at the end of the game the other night. Like, I just
it's all over the place.
I don't know if I like any of that, but like you said, Fred, I think just all things equal, he's probably the most talented guy.
Okay, how about speaking of West Virginia, Nakoti's on the line. What's up, Nakoti?
Tamara, I think you and I are going to be in trouble.
All right.
Hey.
So I got 2 things. Evan, whenever you get into the draft, watching that, take a look at Beanie Bishop. He's a corner from West Virginia. He does lead the nation in pass breakup. Just, a mid-round pick.
How about this? I actually saw him play live.
Against Oklahoma?
Against TCU.
Oh.
Yep, saw him play
How
live.
was
It was good. TCU had a corner too.
Probably had like 2 or 3 of them.
that is going to be drafted, and he stood out. He did.
And instead of say if May is gone, and I'm not really high on Williams, taking Marvin Harrison and then maybe moving up and taking Jaden Daniels in the late first round. What do you think about that?
I'm okay. Like I hear the argument. I think the concern that I have with it is Mac Jones can't be here.
Yeah,
in
I like it on paper. Yeah, but
it's
hard to.
So then you're counting on Daniels being ready to start right away, or you're signing like a stopgap, like a Jacoby Brissett maybe or someone like that to like start a few games for you if you can't.
Oh, the Tony Maz theory of Davis Mills.
Sure.
4,000 times just says like. That's Mac Jones.
Yeah,
only bigger.
I just have concerns about that because you have to find a stopgap at that point. I think I don't think you can count on look at like the Jalen Hurts. Like he didn't start right away, and it wasn't what it is now right away either for him. Like it's going to take some time with a guy like that.
Yeah. All right, we're almost an hour and a half into the show. Paul's food just arrived, so let's get to that. We'll be right back after this.
Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
iPhone 15 Pro on Verizon.
This holiday, trade in any iPhone in any condition for the new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium, Apple TV 4K, and 6 months of Apple One. All on us with Unlimited Ultimate. Go to your local Verizon store now. 6 months of Apple One, then $10 per month. $999.99 device payment or full retail purchase with new smartphone line on Unlimited Ultimate plan required. Less $1,000 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. Promo credit ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. 0% APR. Apple TV 4K and Apple One offers require eligible phone purchase with activation on Unlimited Ultimate. Additional terms and conditions apply. Visit Verizon.com for details.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
Oh no.
replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
Guten Morgen. And hello again, everyone. A very pleasant good afternoon here from Deutsche Bank Stadium in Frankfurt, Germany. The snap to Jones. Back in the pocket. Throws downfield in traffic. Caught by Gesicki.
Good throw.
He zips one in across the middle between the hash marks at the 35. And Mike makes the grab in front of the cornerback, Jalen Jones.
And it's a nice job by Ramondre Stevenson. He's your scan back, so he steps up, but then he's helping you on the blitz pickup. He's right over left guard, and this is an 11-yard dart. That's a little game they run in the middle, and it's a really good throw by Jones to get the ball to Gesicki.
Jones fakes right, backpedaling, lobs it left in the flat. It's caught by Elliott, runs away from the defender. Left sideline 30, and he's knifed down in the open field for the saving tackle made by a diving Jalen Jones.
It's a little flip. There was no fake in the backfield. Mac Jones is looking to give a little fake. It's pump right, gets it backside to Elliott, and I thought Elliott had a chance to be gone, but it's the guy that comes back onto the field from the outside that clips down Zeke. He thought he was gone.
Gives it to Elliott, big hole up the middle, sheds a tackle at the 25, and he's tackled from behind, brought down by Thomas.
It's good to see Kayshon Boutte in the game here on his first drive, out there blocking on the edge.
Mack looks to his right, he's pressured, he moves up, and he's spun down.
Covered sack.
Backs his way into the sack. Dayo Odengbo there for Indianapolis.
See, this is the problem when Juju has to be elevated to be your number one. He's got nothing. He's got nothing in the legs right now.
Now the rookie Chad Ryland to kick it out of the hole to the rookie Behringer from straight on. This kick from 38 yards, and the kick is airborne to the uprights, and the kick is good. So the Patriots get the game's first lead on the game's opening possession, but they settle for 3 instead of 6. From the half-yard line, across the left hash, Minshew, middle of the huddle. Breaks with Taylor behind it. Heavy set to the right. Toss goes right. Taylor tucks it under the right arm, bouncing outside, turns it up inside, into the end zone on his feet. A touchdown and the lead for Indianapolis.
No chance here. Shaun Wade on a big tight end, the third tight end they bring in. They run that toss sweep. It's Katie Barladori. That's a lead block and just completely spins Shaun Wade around. Easy flip. This is why you run the ball instead of sneaking in. You have backs that know how to get it in. Give it to them. What a drive by the Colts. Got you on your heels. Well led by Gardner Minshew. He had the big throw to get it going on third down.
Sanchez stands a yard deep in the end zone. Patriots come with an all-out rush, and he punts it away. And then with nobody back to return the ball, lands shy of the 35, bounces inside the 25, rolls across the 20, and comes to a stop between the hash marks at the 17 of New England.
Can you explain to me what the hell we're doing?
Our
Did they not have enough people on the field, and that's why they had to run Pop
they
Douglas
ran Douglas up to the 25 because I think they took Schooler from the jammer to try to block. And he spun down.
Covered sack.
Backs his way into the sack, and Mack goes down, tripped up as he got away from the initial defender, and then just lost his balance. And Mack is going to be sacked again. Jones dropping back, looking to throw. He's pressured, another sack on third down. He's going to be hit again. He tries to escape. Still on his feet, pushing forward, but he is brought down at the line of scrimmage.
Oh, wait. It might not be a sack.
You're getting your tails.
It's not just past
four
it.
down men rushing you.
They will say a sack because there was no gain. So a sack for Indianapolis. This is a team that came in, by the way, with 22 sacks in 9 games and now has 5 sacks in 5 series.
I'm just more fired up. They're playing Wonderall.
Shotgun snap, shoulder high, a 4-man rush. Minshew moves up, throws on the go. Ball is tipped and intercepted by Bryant. Divine tipped it. Bryant pitched it off, and he has it at midfield. Take away New England.
It's the second time this year Tobias got it off the tip, right? Talking about Jelani Tobias, police in the middle, finds the zone. Boy, was he open. Minshew could have ran it and even picked it up. He decided to throw it. Tobias with the tip and Brian with the pick. Got to do something now. Got the ball in midfield.
Snaps it back to Jones. He stands in the pocket.
Come on, Mac.
Mac Jones now shovels an underhand off to Stevenson. And the pass is incomplete, landing on the turf at the 20-yard line.
You're in the critical juncture. It is third down, and you're feeling the pressure again. Ball should have been gone. Clock in your head. It's got to be ticking. You've got to have an internal clock as a quarterback. You're down there. Things speed up. 1, 2, 3. Ball's got to be gone. Nope. You step up, and then You flip a dangerous one. If Ramondre tips that,
Stevenson tipped the ball away.
Ramondre Stevenson saved his tail. 2 hands, he shoveled this ball in the air.
It's falling to the ground.
You can't explain it. It's inexplicable what he just did.
Play fake by Jones, dropping back.
Jones! No!
Interception, a back foot lob, and Blackman, who missed an opportunity for an end zone pick earlier, takes it away, just short of the end zone, and the Colts take over inside the 5.
You've got to ask at some point, the repetitive, the reoccurring, critical, back-breaking mistake. You could be 13 of 15. You could be controlling the game, and you just can't do this. It is a back throw, non-pressure, absolute gift he gives the Colts.
So
it's not competitive.
He had Gesicki running behind the defender.
Put it up in the back end zone. What's he looking at? You got to make a move, Bill. You got to make a move. Bye week's here.
And here comes Bailey Zappi.
Let's go, kid.
To appear for the Patriots.
It's the right call to make here. The right call. I knew when the pick happened. Said you got to sit him down.
Zappi played 30 snaps in 7 series in weeks 4 and 5, relieving Jones late versus Dallas and New Orleans, both runaway losses. Now he's got a chance to engineer heroics. Here in the 4th, put a long field to navigate down 4 from the 14. Zappi in his 3rd appearance of this season. 2-0 as a starter last year. Now in relief, he snaps it, takes the snap, he faked it. He throws down the middle, passes intercepted. A break on the ball and an interception by Rodney Thomas. The Patriots tried to fake the spike. Zappi floated one down the middle, and Thomas read it all the way in center field, and the Colts are going to celebrate in Frankfurt. Whether it was the starter or the reliever, the last 2 series for the Patriots end in an interception.
Well, I think we're at the point. It's a hope and prayer for the reliever at that point. The problem is you've seen too much for the starter in the way that's gone at too many of those opportunities in games. We're heading to the bye, and it's time to make a switch.
And now the Colts in victory formation. Let me ask about that decision, though, to call that play in that situation, especially the guy who's just coming into the game.
Like I said, you're climbing a mountain here at that point. You know, no prep going in and all that, but
Minshew taking the knee on the final snap in Frankfurt between the Patriots and the Colts and the NFL.
It's been fun in Germany with you, buddy.
Concludes its schedule in Germany here in 2023. The site, the atmosphere, the fandom all lived up to, if not exceeded, expectations. And the Patriots, who came here hoping to turn things around, at least for the second half of the season, to avoid a 3-game losing streak, as a home team in Frankfurt, fall in a fashion all too similar in 2023. So many others. They dropped the decision 10-6 to the Indianapolis Colts.
All right, back here in Patriots Unfiltered. 855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket Hotline. Web radio at patriots.com is the email address. It's Deuce, Tamara, Evan, Paul, myself, back from Germany. We've quickly moved on from the game, and we're really kind of talking about the bye and what's next. So let's get to some of these emails that are coming in. Lots of them, and again, thank you for all the fans that are sticking with us, both calling, emailing, coming to the games, watching on TV, buying the apparel. That's the best part of this whole thing is the fans, and that's why the thing that upset me the most of not winning in Germany is that we let down those fans. So can't get that back. Let's see. Mike writes in. He says, love the show outside of the 2 blowout losses. The other losses were within 1 score. I was really hoping for wins against the Colts, Raiders, and Commanders. If we had taken those winnable games, we would actually be in contention for a playoff spot. So what is the reason? It seems traditional Patriots strengths like special teams, attention to detail, in other words, no dumb penalties, receivers in the right spots, etc., in strong situational football are no longer the norm. definitely some very poor drafting, but is it also because of some poor work by the more junior assistant coaches as well? Are Belichick's kids good coaches? Is there a scouting problem? Hubris by the head coach. Thoughts?
I would say that for the most part, if you look at teams that are bad, this is how it looks. Not every game is going to be a 30-point blowout.
Most games in the league are not.
Right. So a lot of the time, even when a team finishes 2-15 or 3-14 or something like that, there's probably a handful of games that were coin flips and they could have gone the other way, had a couple of bounces or a couple of things gone in their direction. But that's just the way it is. Like I don't think that that's too uncommon that a team that's 2-8 has like 3 or 4 games that they probably, you could say, oh well, you know, if Kayshon Boutte gets his foot in bounds in week 1, or if, you know, they pick up that lateral thing on fourth down against the Dolphins, or like what, I think a lot of teams could probably do that.
Yeah, and 3 of their 8 losses were blowouts. They lost by multiple scores in three games. That's a lot. You know, that means that you're probably one of the lower echelon teams. And yeah, I agree with Evan. I think you could talk yourself into having a chance to win games if you miraculously have a lateral to a lineman down a touchdown in the last 30 seconds of a game. Yeah. You can say that, well, we could have won that. We should have won that game. I'd argue you were a lot closer to losing one of the games you won than winning that one.
Yeah, be careful about what you say about one-score games, because pretty much every Super Bowl was that for the
pretty
Patriots.
much every game in the league is a one-score game.
And I was going to lead into that.
I want to say 78% of the games in the league are one-score games.
Most of these games are like that, you know. And the difference between the good teams and the bad teams is when the pressure is down the stretch, they make the plays, and the bad teams don't. And that's where the Patriots are these days. They used to be a good team, and they'd make those plays.
Yeah.
Now they don't.
I think that was what's most surprising, just that they didn't take advantage of those opportunities down the end. I mean, I felt pretty sure they were going to win the game. You know, in regards to the defense, though,
which game?
The game that what?
Which game did you say you felt pretty sure they were going to win?
When they were sitting on the goal line with like 2 minutes left, and Mac was about to throw an interception right before that. I felt pretty.
You know what's
at
funny?
That moment, I was like, I
thought they were
going to
score a touchdown. I didn't think they were going to win the game. I think there was a lot of time left still.
Yeah. I would say to the defense,
there was like 5.5 minutes left when that happened.
Was it really?
Yeah.
That much?
Yeah, because the Colts took over
and got a first down.
Well, they had done nothing.
When the pick happened, it was like 4:11-ish on the clock.
Colts haven't really done anything, right? The rest of the game, you felt pretty good the Colts were going to put together a scoring drive?
I thought the Colts scored after every time the Patriots scored. And I think they would have done it again.
I know he's like that. I felt that the Patriots had got a touchdown, they were going to win.
Yeah.
I think the best they would have had was overtime. They might have held them to a field goal.
Yeah.
But I have no doubt that it would have gone down and
I'm surprised that you're so sure about that.
I just watched. I mean,
because he thinks the defense stinks. That's his way of saying the Patriots defense
First of all, I didn't think they stunk on Sunday.
Yeah.
I thought the defense played pretty well on Sunday. But I think that there were opportunities that the Colts had every time they had the ball to move more than they did. And I think that they would have probably moved. I'm judging on the last 3 years, not like just nothing.
Yeah.
Not like waiting for something bad to happen.
I'm interested to see what you said about the defense, because we haven't talked anything about the
Yeah,
defense.
well, I mean, I said I still, I kind of have confidence still in the defensive coaching staff. I just think that they don't have game changers up front, and they don't have a pass rush guy who can win. And
they could not finish.
Yeah, and that was the biggest thing. They're trying their hardest, with Keon White, and I mean, but Barmore's really the only pass rusher I feel like they have right now who can win a one-on-one matchup and actually get to the quarterback if someone's trying to block him.
He's not a pass rusher.
No,
but he's a pass disruptor.
Yeah, he's a disruptor. I mean, he's the only one who kind of disrupts.
He's not a sack guy.
But digging like yesterday, I kind of nerded out on a bunch of stats. But it feels a lot like the 2020 defense to me, that they don't really have a stud up front. And I think if they did, they probably would have finished out Gardner Minshew a couple times. But overall, I still think that they're playing pretty hard. They're doing a pretty good job against the run.
I think they're doing really well against the run.
They just don't have the horses right now, and I think that's what this defense is at. But put Judon and Gonzalez back in the mix, and I think you'd really start to see a defense that's capable enough.
If you're a sack guy, Barmore is your best friend.
Yeah,
because he's going to disrupt and he's going to the quarterback's going to fall in your arms.
It's just him, and Uche doesn't move the needle. I mean, Evan and I were talking about him. We both kind of saw the same thing with Uche. It's like, why is Uche trying to power through guys? Like, that is not his game.
It's like he's dancing
small,
up there.
he's quick. He should be trying to get around guys and get the edge. But, Evan, I'll let him expound upon it. But he had the point. A lot of times you couldn't tell if they just had so little pass rush juice or if they're really just trying to keep Gardner Minshew in the pocket because they were that scared of letting him get out, which is kind of curious.
Or
I know. It doesn't make sense.
Or
but
they
that's
just
what
thought
it
he
looked
was
like.
going to make a mistake.
Yeah,
which he did once.
I just thought that with Uche, I worry that he knows that they want fundamentally sound edge setters, like guys that are going to keep contained and guys that are going to set the edge of the defense and things like that. And when I watch him rush now, I just don't see. Last year he had all these finesse moves, like he had a full repertoire. Exactly. Speed rush was obviously like his base, his foundation, but he had all sorts of stuff off of the speed. And now this year it's just like a speed to power bull rush
run into
every
the wall,
single
and
time.
the guy just takes like one step and is like, okay, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, and I just wonder if that has to do with the fact that he's being coached to keep the guy in the pocket and play that kind of football. And if I was the Patriots at this point, I'd just let him loose. Just get after the quarterback. If you lose contain, you lose contain.
Minshew doesn't seem like the guy that you have to worry about that. Right?
No,
just get him.
That's what I don't
get him.
And I do think they played well on Sunday, Fred. They kept them in the game. I mean, they gave 10 points.
I thought they didn't play very well, to be honest.
Okay.
You know what I think of as a whole? I thought I don't want to nitpick because Fred just gets mad at me and we get in semantic arguments.
Yeah.
I thought the reason they only scored 10 points is because either Minshew missed guys or they dropped the pass when he actually got it there.
I watching it back, I sort of felt the same way.
Now, they were excellent against the run.
I couldn't agree more. They really shut down the run. They built a wall all game long. Godchow, Wise, Barmore,
Peppers.
All those guys deserve a ton of credit for how they held the line of scrimmage, and did it all without Juwan Bentley.
Yep.
So
a point that Mike and I hammered in the postgame show, how impressive it was without the one guy that you'd expect to be a huge part of it.
They were really good up front in this game, played really well. I thought the pass defense took exactly the same as it did against the Commanders. And Sam Howell just made a few more plays than Gardner Minshew.
There was opportunities for half dozen 20-plus yard plays in that game that either Minshew missed or like the tight end dropped down the sideline.
Oh God, yeah.
But how many of those do you feel like were like 4 seconds into the down because he had been like scurrying and guys?
But how many of them did you watch the replay and see? Why didn't you just throw it to this guy right away?
Oh yeah.
And then he would scramble and say, "Well, why didn't you throw it to that guy? He's now open."
Yeah.
Like I thought they could have. Right down to the you need a 3 and out after you after you throw the pick, right? You want to get the ball back after that 3 and out, and it's 3rd and less than 1, and they call a Fakakta center violation for no reason at all. They showed the replay; he didn't move the ball at all. Now it's 3rd and 6. You got to get off the field.
Yeah,
they get like a 30-yard play to Josh Downs.
28. Yeah, that was the one that I highlighted. That's
why I think if they had
backbreaker.
Gone ahead 13-10, the best they would have had was overtime. Because I think now they're going to throw the ball on every play. They're not going to waste downs by running into a brick wall. They're going to throw it on every play. They're going to move 50 yards and kick a field goal at minimum.
Terrence from Colts territory says, just want to say the trip over to Frankfurt was awesome. Too bad we had to witness that crappy product on the field. We definitely need a new quarterback because Mac is broken and needs a new change of scenery. Unlike most Patriots fans, I'm putting all of these issues at the foot of the head coach, who most people continue to give a pass. I don't know anymore. I know you.
Not
all,
as many people give him a pass as give Mac a pass.
I know you all can't say it because you work for the Patriots, but I know deep down you have to believe it's time for a change. Bill needs to go. I'm all for having a new voice within the organization because this team will never evolve with his cheap and stubborn way of doing things. I'll be totally happy with an offensive-minded coach to pair with the next quarterback. If Bill stays with the new quarterback, it will be more of the same. Trust me. So
hopefully a freewheeling spending offensive.
On the other hand, Rich in Santa Cruz writes in, sorry if you've already covered this, but as a fan, I do not want to get rid of Bill. Being a fan is about wins, sure, but it's also about the characters, the people. Didn't we learn our lesson about kicking Brady out the door? Yes, Bill struggled with drafting for the last decade, but there is so many factors in that. Luck, injury, staff. If Brock Purdy doesn't show that drafting can be a crapshoot, then I don't know what does. Being a fan is not just wearing a Patriots jersey. Keep Bill, keep Billy O, sit Mac now, and let's draft and empty the bank and draft picks and trade draft picks for known players that have proven themselves in the NFL. Still trusting Bill and loving having our jerky, morose, cranky leader. He is the Patriots, and I love it. And I want to fly or drown on this ship that has given us the best ride we've had in football history and see if he can turn it around.
Okay.
Yeah. Admirable loyalty.
Yeah.
How many more?
No, I'm dead serious.
How many
That's
more
admirable loyalty.
How many more losing seasons do we have to get until we realize that he wasn't the?
Can I just
it wasn't him? Sorry.
Obviously, I think we all disagree with the sentiment, but I'm just going to pick up one particular part. Okay, so Brock Purdy is obviously shows you what a crapshoot it is. So it has nothing to do with anybody that works with Brock Purdy after that, okay? So then why are we in love with Bill Belichick, who had the same crapshoot come in on Tom Brady? Because if we're not going to give Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco staff any credit for what they're doing with Brock Purdy, then why are we giving it to Bill for winning 6 titles with a crapshoot at 199?
Yeah.
I tell you, that crapshoot in the 2022 draft is just an absolute train wreck right now. I mean, Did
anybody read the
Bill
Barnwell
yes,
thing
and he
yesterday?
doesn't even watch the games because he just refers to Cole Strange as like, oh, he's been in and out of the lineup. I'm like, you don't have any clue what you're talking about if that's all you're seeing with Cole Strange. Like, he can't play guard. Like, that's the problem. Not that he was in and out of the lineup.
Somebody else.
I love Angry Deuce.
I mean,
Angry Deuce is my new favorite.
Well, I mean, he's standing next to DeForest Buckner. It looks like his son, and that's how big DeForest Buckner is. And he was just like,
just keep going.
Like, he's giving him lessons. Like, I'm sorry, like that whole draft class, other than whatever Marcus Jones gives you on punt returns, is almost a complete and total wash.
But
we could have told you that at the time.
What I liked about the Barnwell thing, it was 8 years. It's not like, he missed on that draft class last year. It's 8 years. They had like 2 players in the top 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Other than
Welcome to
Marcus
my life.
Jones,
Yeah.
they overdrafted every single player in that draft. Like, Cole Strange was really a day 2 guy that they drafted in the first round. Tyquan was really a day 3 guy that they drafted in the second round. And Marcus Jones was the only pick that they went with the consensus guy, and he's the best player that you got in the draft.
And really, he's kind of just a punt returner.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what it
But
seems like.
as a third round pick, like, you'll take what he's given you when he's healthy. But everybody else in that board was like a surprise. Like, Tyquan was like, really? Like, this guy at 50th overall?
And wouldn't be surprised to see all of those people we just named out of the mix next year if there was, a complete kind of redo.
So
none of those guys are foundational guys.
With Cole Strange, I could not agree with you more. I mean, it's bad. What I do wonder with him is if he's a center.
Yeah.
And maybe like when Andrews retires, if he takes over at center, because at center you can be smaller.
It's the last resort, right? There's nowhere else he's going. I mean, he's not going to running back.
Friend of the show, frequent emailer, caller, Spee in Fresno is getting open heart surgery tomorrow. So
yes.
Good luck to you. Thoughts with you. He writes in, he says, I felt bad for Mac. He looked like a tortured soul on the sidelines after the pick, even more than normal. I figured Bill saw that and determined Mac was mentally too checked out to see the field. Anyway, last week on Catch 22, Evan pointed to coaching points not getting through to players as a problem with the players. Yes, if receivers are running 5.5 yards when they've been told to run 6, that's their fault. But communication is a two-way street. Maybe Bill is stretched too thin, or maybe he's delegating to the wrong people, but it's plausible that somewhere along the line the coaches aren't the sort of communicators they need to be for the players of today. That's a big reason to root for a younger, modern coaching regime.
Yeah, I mean, that was my entire point. It was like, I think that we have callers that call in and emailers that say, why not just get a GM and pair him with Bill? And it's like, I've watched this entire year and even mostly last year too. What is Bill good at coaching anymore? Like, what about this team over the last 2 years says that coach is pretty good? Like, where on the field have they been a well-coached team?
They're an error-repeating team, which I think is probably like the biggest indictment of what he's usually standing for.
Yeah, I mean, on defense, if they send another like nickel blitz where the guy just flies right by the quarterback and doesn't actually bring him down, I'm going to lose my mind. They don't tackle well on defense. They don't play like smart, fundamentally sound defense. Before the half, to Paul's point, like there's a wheel route down the sideline that Jalen Mills just lets go. Like everybody else is playing man coverage except Jalen Mills, and they're all looking around at him after the play like, That was your guy, dude. Like, what are you doing? He thinks it's zone, so he like plays the flat. The tight end just runs right by him. That should have been a touchdown.
I thought my take on the defense was going to get attacked by Evan. Evidently, I was being too easy on them.
Yeah, and then also special teams is a disaster.
Special teams is a disaster. They run 0 blitzes now where like there's just 6 guys open. Like it just everybody's open on the play and there's no effective.
I printed out some of the league stats. So do you know
I love that
they're
Paul always has
23rd.
receipts.
Their receiving team. So their average starting drive is 23rd in the league, right?
Yeah.
That's their receiving team. Their kicking team, they average allowing the 27th best. Like, they're not good on kick return or kick off. Their punter, I probably won't be able to find that now, is down in the lower third.
Jeez,
Let's
you
put it
got
that
a-
way.
you got
He is on
highlights in there.
he is on the way up a little bit.
I see one on your back of your thing there. There's a highlight. Did you highlight something?
No, those are just highlighted when you never look at the stats when they send them out?
I
The
gotcha.
Patriots.
I don't have a color printer.
But they're still highlighted.
Sorry, that's what confused me. I thought you
Oh.
did extra work, Paul. I was
No,
giving you
I don't
credit.
do.
You're
I don't
going
do any
through
work.
with-
I just like for a team. Again, I know everybody says this, but for a team that carries itself, like treating that third phase of the game as important as the other two, it's not.
Yeah.
But they treat it that way, and they still lag behind.
If you can just tell me point to me where they're well coached.
Yeah. Nowhere.
Point to me where they're a well coached team in any of the 3 phases.
They're stout and two gapping up front and stopping the run.
There it is.
Okay. Good job, DeMarcus Covington.
Can I make one more point too about the 2022 draft class? You know how you always are like, well, you really got to wait 3 years. Like, we don't have to wait 3. Like, I'm like, we're a year and a half. We're done. Like, that draft class is done. It's
No.
It's Marcus Jones, and does
But
he end
this
up
is what
playing any
bugs me
slot
because-
corner at all?
Do you
That's
remember
it.
last year? How people talked about this draft class? Well, you got a starting guard. He's going to plug and play 10
Absolutely
years.
not.
Plug and play. Then you got Thornton. He can fly. Look what he was doing before he got hurt. Slow start, but then look what he did against Cleveland. Another hit. Marcus Jones, dynamic all-pro punt returner. Won a game for you. Look at him. Jack Jones, pick 6 on Aaron Rodgers. That was the draft class, and we didn't have to wait 3 years then.
No.
Right?
We don't now.
Now Deuce has got a hill to die on.
I'll just
The
say
2022 draft.
That draft was
I'll say it
terrible
right
at the
now.
time, and
So
it's
bad.
terrible now.
But everybody was telling us how negative we were last year. When
And
we were saying,
people
I don't
are
like
still
this draft
telling me
class.
that I'm too harsh on Cole Strange. It's like, do you watch the games?
I mean, you feel
I
pretty
don't, but
confident
I
about
leave that
saying
to you.
he will not be a starting guard for the team next year. He will
No.
not be the starting
he
guard for
shouldn't
this team
be.
this year.
I mean, the guy that they drafted
I
in the
think he
4th
will be.
round is already better than he is.
Right?
So you think it'll be Mafi and so?
I don't know, but it ain't going to be him.
Jeffrey in Canada, I
He
get a
gives
lot.
you this lingo there.
I get a lot of the talk will be Mac this week, which is deserved. However, I think ownership needs to stay focused on the root cause of all this, which for me is Belichick. Mike is right. It's the drafts, where he has been picking the wrong players over and over for about a decade. Its defenders will name the 2 to 3 good players he's got like a blind squirrel, but 10 years, 6+ picks per year, and almost nothing to show for it. It's been mentioned on this show that Bill despises the current college game. But newsflash, 99% of the players who play NFL football come from college football. Now 10 years later, all the other teams have evolved and know what players to draft that will work. Based on his track record, Bill can't. You can't miss on 90% of your picks and say you know what you're doing. Does anyone in this show see any way Bill is still with the Patriots next year?
It's getting harder to think that, but yeah, I don't know. Be interesting. And just to be clear, Bill has always hated the college game. That's not a new phenomenon. He doesn't
I
hate
hate-
the
I
he
hate
doesn't
the
hate the
college game.
current college game.
Me too.
He's always hated college football.
Yeah,
Screens, go routes. That's what he used to
Yeah.
say all the time. This is back in like 03 when he would talk to us.
Penalties, big plays, turnovers.
Yeah,
That's like just
I'm
every
the
play.
product of college football. I'm not a fan. I agree with that.
The pageantry.
You need the professional football players who are going to take it.
Well, I got to
seriously.
tell you, what do you? I mean, this is probably not good to bring up at 157, but I think the current game right now, this season, hasn't been great.
The NFL, well, you know, the scoring being down. And
I don't
stuff like
mind the
that.
scoring
Like,
being
no, I
down
just
because
think
I'm
it's
not a big.
interesting.
I got to have like a 41-30.
No,
I mean that
no, me
the Detroit Chargers game was fantastic to watch the other day, but I don't want every game like that. That was like a one-off. Two good offenses going head-to-head, making plays all over the place. Now, part of me was still sitting there saying, why the hell are they not double-teaming Keenan Allen? You know, why are you letting him catch like 13 balls for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns or whatever it was?
Guy still plays well. Huh?
You know?
But he's healthy.
On like one hamstring. Yeah. I agree.
I don't
with
think
you.
the league. I don't think the games have been great.
No.
There's not enough padded practices. Like I know that people don't want like. I understand everybody's got the same playing field. Yeah, everybody's got the same playing field, so they all stink.
Yeah.
Like you got the offensive line play around the league is an epidemic. Like nobody can block anybody. They have to find a way in the summertime to have more padded practices, obviously safely. Like, no one wants players to get hurt. No one wants any of that.
And the injuries have also been huge this year. And I know it's probably the same as always, but it just seems like there's been a lot of serious injuries this year.
I mean, do you think that this is a red flag to the league of how do we pick scoring back up? I mean, it seemed like they've been so intent on that lately.
I don't know. I don't necessarily, like I said, I'm not necessarily upset with the caliber of play because the scoring's down. I just don't think that it's been, down because the defenses are really good.
The games have probably been close though too. There's got to be a stat out there about how games have probably been.
I mean, there was six
margin
game-winning walk-off field goals. That's a record.
Yeah.
Wow. This weekend, just this weekend.
So maybe they'll.
You're not going to get any of these people on the phone.
We don't have time, but I appreciate everyone calling and emailing. We only got it to a fraction of you, but we'll be back tomorrow, 12 o'clock. So come back to us tomorrow, Thursday. We're here. It's not a bye week for us. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.